Now, they say what happens on spring break stays on spring break, but that ethos goes out the window when it comes to the prep baseball spring break experience here at LakePoint Sports. It's here for everyone to see, and that's to the benefit of all of us who get to see the likes of MLB draft prospects, Division I commits, and some of the top uncommitted players in their respective states as we bring you today's watch parties. You can tell I'm a little bit excited. We are a couple hours delayed. We were supposed to have a 2 p.m. first pitch for you today. That has now been pushed back to 4 p.m. as we had some storms come through the metro Atlanta area. I'm Cory McCartney. We've got two great matchups for you. Troy Trojans from Ohio against Illinois' Lincoln Way East, and Georgia's Calvary Christian versus another Illinois squad, Lincoln Way West. First pitch again slated for 4 p.m. Going to be joined along the way by Virginia signee Jack Bauer from Lincoln Way East and our own Grayson Rosen. Now, this is the second week of games of the spring break experience. A week ago, we had teams in from Alabama, Kentucky, Maryland, and Missouri, and it did not disappoint. The players showed up and showed out. Among them were two seniors who were on the way to service academies, DeMatha's Brooks Franklin, Navy signee, and MICDS's Army-bound Brian Gould. I caught up with them after the game, and we got in on the Army-Navy rivalry as we put them to war, thumb war. We got the service academies in the spotlight. We got Brian Gould at MICDS, an Army signee. We got Brooks Franklin from DeMatha on his way to Navy. Guys, first of all, congratulations. I know the one step in the process is some schools are really, really hard to get into. So tell me about the commitment and what's going all into this for you guys. I mean, certainly there's a path if you ultimately want to get there to get to the major leagues from the service academy. You saw Paul Skeens do this with the Air Force Academy. But, Brian, take me in the decision for you. Ultimately, you come from an Army family, but ultimately wanting to be a part of this. Yeah, I mean, definitely my family played a big role in this. I've had both my parents serve. My sister even went to the Naval Academy. So, this decision was not too far out of the ordinary for me. Army wasn't really on my radar until really late in the recruiting process, but they stuck with me through my arm injury. So I think that those coaches showed a lot of trust in me, and then obviously Army has a storied program since the new coaching staff came the last few years, and they've been pretty dominant in the Patriot League. So just with their, obviously the West Point and their baseball program is legit. So Brooks, for you, I mean, certainly there's more than just baseball and school for this. Tell me about what was the deciding factor for you? The deciding factor for me, I know he added that like his parents went there and his sister went to the Naval Academy. No one in my family really has any service in the academies, and I kind of, like when I took my visit last September, I walked to the coaches and the players and I talked to them about everything, and I kind of fell in love with it. Like, it's not, your normal person wouldn't really decide it, because everyone kind of wants to go to like a normal place, but then when I went there, it's like everyone has the same mindset, everyone's a leader, and everyone's like extremely disciplined, and that kind of stuck with me and my family too. And then my decision was to go there, and I would say the rest of my 4 years. All right, Brian, tell me about the player that Army's going to get.
I'd say someone who's just willing to do everything. Utility guy, two-way. So hopefully get to pitch a lot as well as swing a lot. I think power bat, but kind of able to, I'd say just utility all around. Able to fill in a lot of spots.
Brooks, what about you? What is Navy going to be getting out of the player?
I'd say Navy's definitely to get like leadership and my attitude as well, but then on the field, my glove, I feel like my glove's top. And then my bat, my power is starting to get there, but playing small ball I feel like would definitely help me a lot.
All right, you mentioned your sister at the Naval Academy. And tell me, how do you really feel about Navy?
I mean, I have a lot of respect for it just because I understand what's on the other side, and I understand those what goes into those people and how they're cut from the same cloth as the people at Army and West Point. But I'm not a huge fan.
Brooks, you've picked a side now too. Tell me what you watch Army Navy games. What's your feelings now towards Army now that you got a dog in this fight?
I mean, I feel like once I get to the academy and then we both experience like going like to football games, then it'd be some tension. But as of right now, I feel like we're both just like the same kind of person.
Yeah.
Like we're both going to serve our country and we're both dedicated to do that. I think that definitely sticks out.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously, hats off to both of you guys for that undertaking that you're going to be doing. But it is a story rivalry, and we would be remiss if we didn't at least try to get involved in this. And there's fitness competitions on it. There's the games on the field. But we're going to make you guys go to war, and that we're going to have you go to the thumb war. So we're going to go best 2 out of 3 thumb wrestling to put Army and Navy to the test here at LakePoint Sports.
All right, sounds good.
All right, we got our combatants here. We got Army versus Navy thumb wrestling. We're going to do best 2 out of 3. All right, here we go. Round 1.
1, 2, 3, 4. I declare thumb war.
All right, so you can't. We're gonna watch get the leverage. You gotta watch get the leverage. I can't call in a tag team partner. All right,
got me.
Round one goes to Army. So Navy in a hole here. All right, here we go. Round 2, go.
1, 2, 3, 4. I declare thumb war.
All right, got some action. So you can't call in a tag team partner. Oh, and it goes to Army. Army is the winner. Yes, that was one of the more ridiculous things we have done here with players at LakePoint Sports, but if we don't have fun with them, who will? Now, the on-field action is just part of the offerings that we have here at LakePoint Sports, where we effort to provide a best-in-class experience, and that includes access to testing and player performance data that is redefining evaluation and recruiting. Curve Test Center gives athletes an unprecedented look at how they measure up through its ball, body, and brain approach to testing. Let's go inside the Curve Test Center.
We're here at LakePoint Sports, the site of the first Curve Test Center. There will be lots of Curve Test Centers, but this will always be the first. And why are we here? Here for a couple of reasons. One is if you think about the effort players are spending trying to get coaches to notice them, the effort coaches are spending trying to figure out who's actually any good, the poor parents who are sitting there saying, where's my kid headed? This is the answer for all that.
Everyone wants to be seen, right? Sometimes what can be seen is data. So it's hard to get in front of coaches at all these programs at once, or even the school you really want to go to. So using data helps us a ton. And as long as it's reliable and there's something that can give us better information with the small sample size is what we're looking for.
Test your athletic, cognitive, and baseball skills with TrackMan, Proteus, and more at Curve Test Center. Visit the bubble or sign up now at curvetestcenter.com. Don't miss this chance to level up your game. Back here in studio, Cory McCartney with you again. We've got around a 4 p.m. First pitch. We got two matchups for you. We've got Lincoln Way East from Illinois taking on Troy from Ohio. Meanwhile, Georgia's own Calvary Christian taking on Lincoln Way West. So we're going to take a quick break in studio and hope to be joined by Virginia signee Jack Bauer when we get things started here on the Spring Break Experience Watch Party. I think Jack's actually walking this way right now. So we're going to take a break. We'll be joined by Jack Bauer when we come back. Welcome into our Spring Break Experience Watch Party, now joined by Virginia signee Jack Bauer from Lincoln Way East. Jack, man, we already did an interview. Everybody can see that on the social channels in a few days, but thanks for stopping in, man. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me.
So you haven't been down here in a little while. I mean, you played 17U National Championships last year. Before that, it had been a long time since you've been at LakePoint Sports. When you came back, what were your impressions of the new fields and the new turf down there?
They were awesome, man. I love the new additions. The turf before was awesome as well, and I love this complex. I love pitching here. And there's always great competition here as well, especially with the high school and the summer circuits and the events you guys put on. Future Games obviously made a huge impact on my baseball career, so yeah.
Things getting started for your Lincoln Way East guys as they're taking on Troy right now. Tell me about the lineup without you in it. You had played first base before, not in the lineup obviously today. You're sitting in here with me. What's the expectations for your guys as you see them out in the field today?
Yeah, I think we're a gritty group of guys. We put in a lot of effort, and especially in the offseason, they've put in a lot of work, and we really have a lot of team chemistry. We're not like a bunch of guys that are like huge high-ranked guys, but we're a great team that comes together, and we have a bunch of young guys as well that, they've been showing how difficult they can be to deal with for other pitchers.
So obviously on the other side, we have Lincoln Way West over there, and you told me you guys have got them shortly after you all get back up to Illinois. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie West Side Story. That's probably a little bit before your time, but there was these two warring gangs, right? The Sharks and the Jets, and then they would go and they snap their fingers as they're squaring off with one another.
Yeah.
What's it like when you guys are kind of across from one another and you see some familiar faces?
Yeah, it's awesome, especially because I train with Connor.
Yep.
I train with a lot of those guys on that team, and you love to see them succeed, but especially on the field, that it's bragging rights. It's bragging rights for a while, and especially, when I'm on the mound, I really don't think about that relationship. I'm really just thinking to beat the hitter. So it's different because it's still in the back of your head a little bit because you know who it is and you know their strengths and weaknesses, and that also plays in a part of the mind game. I've already started thinking about what pitch I'm going to throw Connor, first pitch. So.
Yeah, talking about Connor Essenberg, two-way on his way to Kentucky, and we had him at Super 60 in Chicago. I thought maybe we might see you there, and we're getting into the reasons why you maybe started out a little slower this year than normal because you took some much-needed time off, and it paid off big time for you. But obviously, Connor Essenberg, a big talent. When he saw and you hit 100 miles an hour a couple times already this year, when you hit 100, what was Connor's reaction?
He was excited, man, and he saw some video of me throwing, and he was he saw the energy I was bringing this year, and he was impressed, and he was like, I like that energy. He texted me right after, and so he was like, yeah, now I got to step it up. So it's definitely, we're going to push each other when we play against each other, and, I love the competition in our area in Chicago. I think, the Midwest definitely has some underrated baseball, so, yeah.
So you were at 95, as I mentioned to you earlier today when we had you at the Prep Baseball All-American game in Milwaukee in 2023. Come out this year, have hit 100 multiple times. The path there, it included a shutdown. It included some preparation in the weight room. The very first time that you saw that number, were you aware that it happened, or how long after it happened did someone say, hey, man, you just hit triple digits.
Yeah, so I threw 2 innings. I didn't give up a base runner. It was just 6 straight Ks. And I go into the bullpen, and we have guys that do like a pitching chart, and they do a gun, and they were like, yeah, scouts back there had you at 100. And I was like...
Did you believe it, or do you think they were messing with you?
I thought they were messing with me a little bit. But in live ABs, which I actually threw against a lot of the West kids, which I didn't really like, give them some practice. But it's all right. I'm still confident in my stuff to beat them. But I was 98 in live ABs, and I was like, can't wait to get on the mound, in an actual game, not inside a dome, because we live in Illinois. So
the second-ranked left-hander in Illinois, 3rd overall, 10th at your position nationally, and 71st overall in the class. Off that 100-mile-an-hour fastball, got that changeup, the sweeper as well. What's the next evolution in terms of the pitches for you? Is it the changeup? Like, where do you feel like things can still get a little bit better?
Recently, I've been working on. It's definitely been the off speed primarily. With my control of the fastball, I haven't really been worried about it. It's been mainly the changeup, working on the changeup, because I'll throw one good one, and then some other ones I'll just cut, and they're just not as good. Also, controlling it has been somewhat of an issue, but I have there's been flashes of it being very good. And then with the slider, I don't like the sweeper look. I want the hard bullet slider, that just tunnels off my fastball really well. So that's also what I've been working on from the pitch repertoire point of view.
Got Jacob Baud on the mound for you guys right now. Give us a scouting report.
Yeah, he's got a great arm. He's been built like as you can see, he's very lanky, and he's very tall, but he's very deceptive as well, and it's tough for hitters to see. And he's definitely a top pitcher on our team, and he's been starting games, and he's been winning games for us. His off-speed's good as well. He's got a good changeup, but his fastball also plays well, especially against lefties. Lefty up, that's a tough matchup for the kid on Troy, so we'll see.
So the sweeper for you has been up around 3,000 RPMs I've seen. What's the latest fastball RPM numbers that you've seen?
It's been up recently. It's been up to 2,400.
Okay.
And before it used to be 21. But now it's definitely got it. I wouldn't say it has ride. It doesn't rise just because of my arm slot, but it definitely has a ton of run. It's been up to 20 inches of run.
Wow.
So they both kind of even my 2-seam or my 4-seam throws like a 2-seam, and it has a ton of run. But I like to get that 4-seam inside front door on a righty, and then 2-seam kind of away to a righty, and in on a lefty.
So Bobby Cox, the old Braves manager, he used to say their major league hitter can time a jet. So even if you're throwing 100 miles an hour, obviously the next thing is how much spin can you get on that pitch. So What kind of changes can you even make at this point to try to maybe increase those RPMs a little bit?
It's spin efficiency. I don't really mess around with my metrics when I'm pitching that much. I just know my stuff plays already pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
But when going on to the next level and having those 3 pitches, changeup, slider, fastball, I'm going to need all 3 of them to win a game. And it can't just be fastball, and they just all need to play off each other and sync very well.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the spin numbers, I mean, think about a guy like Mason Miller. He's got 2,500 on the 4-seam. Paul Skeen's averaging 98 on his 4-seam. He's around 2,200. Hunter Green's averaging 96 on the 4-seam with 2,300 spin. Jared Jones, I'm going off StatCast numbers, 97.3 with 2,500. Garrett Crochet at 97.2 is the only lefty that's doing it around 2,500. Only guy getting that done from the left side. So you take what you're offering and doing it with the secondary stuff off that 100-mile-an-hour fastball as a left-hander. You're going to hear a lot of stuff about the MLB draft, and I asked you before the game about the mental side of it and how you compartmentalize and do what you need to get done now, but it's got to be hard not to dream a little bit, right?
Yeah, especially since I've gotten into high school, it's definitely been there's a chance to get drafted and go, play the sport I love at the highest level. But once I put that pressure on myself, I know it's not going to go well. So I'm just trying to win each game, have each moment. We have a great team that we love spending time with each other. And the pressure's there, and you see the scouts. But I feel like I've been able to handle it before, so why can't I handle it?
Well, look, you were here for future games in 2022, right? As part of Team Illinois. A few months later, you end up making the commitment to Virginia. You're never going to see more scouts at one event that you saw at future games. So, I mean, even though you're going through this now and it's a little bit more real, it's never going to be more amplified than that.
Exactly, and that was my going into sophomore year. So I was 15, 16 years old, dealing with, colleges, and then it got into, agents. And so I feel like I matured a ton, going into high school, and now it's kind of like that stuff doesn't really bother me. Like I said before the game, it's just playing the sport I love, and I love pitching. That's the main thing. And I love dominating hitters. I love beating the hitters. I don't like hitters, especially when I'm on the mound. I don't say nice things to hitters, not to their face, but in my head. But yeah.
How do you flick that switch? Like when you step onto the field, because you're obviously a mild-mannered guy. When you step on the field, what's that mechanism for you to flip the switch?
It starts in the preparation. I flip the switch, the night before. I go on a run. Day before I start, I put in some headphones and I just sprint. And I'm just thinking about and I'm visualizing, my fastball getting in on a hitter, and my slider, in the dirt on a swing, and all of that stuff. And just preparation has been huge for me, especially this year. Thinking about, going into game one, I felt like there was a lot of pressure because of how I performed last year, and scouts still showing up. So I wanted to, show out, but I didn't want to put an extreme amount of pressure on myself. It was just the preparation all made it easy for me.
That one, 99.9 off the bat. Absolute rocket, man. Ooh. So you go out on the run. Do you have a playlist, or is there something? Do you always listen to the same stuff? Is it so? Because if you're going to have a routine, there has to be a lot routine about it. So what do you listen to?
I'm listening to the same 5 songs. I listen to British rap songs. I know it sounds bad. I don't listen to that on my own usually. But it gets me in the zone, and I've listened to the same song ever since I actually got onto it when I went to the All-American game in 2023, and I've been listening to the same song ever since.
What is it?
It's called Pressure by Rushy.
Okay.
And it's I feel like it also relates to my situation too. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on me. And in the song it says I don't feel pressure. So I just think about that when I'm throwing.
So British rappers don't have Cockney accents. They sound like Americans.
Yes.
Why do you think? I've always wondered that. With singers, why do people from other countries sound like Americans when they sing?
I feel like just because we're a huge part of the music industry now.
You think we influence the way they talk when they're
exactly, and part of the rap. I feel like mainly rap industry is in USA.
Yeah.
And Drake came from Canada. But
that's true.
He also, now you would guess he's from New York or something like that.
Okay, so Jack Nicklaus, I'm kind of paraphrasing this, but he always said that greats learn how to play badly well. So if you go out and you visualize and you've got your playlist and everything is the way you want it to be, and you get into the bullpen, maybe that sweeper's not breaking the way you want it to. Maybe something's a little bit off with off the arm slot on the 4-seam. How do you I got to get back to basics and find your way when things aren't working right? Yeah,
it's all about making the adjustment and not letting the moment be too big. Sometimes when you're struggling, it's easy to just keep going, and then you're not thinking, and all the stuff in baseball speeds up on you. But if you step off the mound, you take a deep breath, and you're like, hold on, what am I doing wrong? Say I'm missing arm side. All right, I just need to finish a little bit more. And then you get that one strike, that's a little bit of confidence back. Then you get a second strike. That's more confidence back. Strikeout, even more. And then you're just back on the same plane. It's all about, you can't let the game speed up on you, especially baseball. It's a lot of thinking. And so you have to stop and think for a little bit. It's a 3-hour, 2-hour, 30-minute game. And you can't, just make each pitch within 5 seconds.
When's the last time you remember things not really feeling right, but then you still go out there and dominate?
Oof. Just because the routine I do nowadays, I feel right, going out to the mound every single time. But I feel like maybe last year I just didn't feel right, but there's a couple times that I went out and dominated. Down in Arizona, I went out and dominated. We were in Kentucky playing against Trinity, great school, by the way.
Yeah.
And I only threw 3 innings. It was the beginning of the year, but I only gave up 1 run. And then after that, I got taken out. The wheels kind of fell off a little bit. But it was I didn't feel like myself. I felt like last year I wasn't under myself, and my body and my mindset wasn't right. So I made a ton of adjustments this offseason just so that every single time I go out, and it's not just superstition, it's routine. Because once things become superstition, it's Adam Wainwright said this, it becomes, kind of a chore, and then if you don't do everything specifically the exact same way, you're going to feel like you're going to pitch bad. So now it's just, getting my body ready, and I'm I don't have to do the exact same thing every single time, but, I listen to those songs because they get me in the right headspace. And then I also, do bands every single time because that's just part of the routine. But, I'm not like parking my car in the same spot or like doing stuff like that, because I do think about that stuff a lot because I'm a huge superstitious guy, but I was doing that a ton last year, and it was like, all right, well, like it's not helping. So it's just too much overthinking I felt like I had last year as well.
Troy has a 3-0 lead on Lincoln Way East. Hayden Frey, the Toledo signee, went yard in that one to give them that opening lead here in the first inning. Meanwhile, Calvary Christian has a 1-0 lead on Lincoln Way West, joined in studio by Virginia signee Jack Bauer. Obviously, you share the name with Kiefer Sutherland's character from the TV show 24. You wear number 24. At what point did you know there was this coincidence?
Yeah, like whenever I'd have teachers, it'd be first day of school, and they'd be like, "Jack Bauer, did your parents name you after that show?" And I was like, "Yeah."
They did name you after the show?
They did,
okay.
Yes. So I have 2 older sisters, but they ended up becoming girls, and then they were going to name me. So and then they had one more kid. It was me, and I ended up being a dude, so they named me that. But I was like, what number should I wear? Because when I was younger, I would kind of have an epiphany on like what number I wanted to wear. It would be like my birth date or like something basic.
Yeah.
And then once I got to high school, I realized, like it's a pretty good idea to wear 24. I like the number.
Lean into it.
Exactly. Play into it a little bit, have some fun. So now I wear it.
Well, my last name being McCartney, I would always get questions about the Beatles, which is a little bit before your time with Paul McCartney. But so you are the Lincoln Way East Griffins. A griffin is a mythical beast. What do you know about griffins?
I know absolutely nothing. I'm going to be honest. I know they fly, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's all I know.
They're like in Harry Potter, right?
Yeah,
they have griffins
so.
in Harry Potter? Yeah. So do you guys have is there a mascot? Is there a griffin mascot?
Yeah, it's on the hat right here.
No, I mean, is there like a guy that walks around like in a mascot in a griffin costume?
Yeah, at football games, Football's huge in our area.
Yep.
But now it's kind of, we're trying to put the baseball team on. So now we're really trying to compete as a baseball team, and I feel like we're kind of underrated this year just because we don't have a bunch of high guys. Obviously, losing Tyler last year was a big loss. Yeah. But we have a bunch of young guys that, people aren't looking out for. And our pitchers, we got a good pitching staff. He's struggling right now, but he's got the mindset and he's able to persevere just because of what he went through, years prior. Baud, he kind of like went through a lot junior year, sophomore year, and he just got a K right there. So, yeah, that's really all I got to say.
So you guys last year end up falling in the Class 4A regional finals to Lincoln Way Central, which kept you guys from meeting Lincoln Way West in the state playoffs. What was the kind of conversations like after the year ends and goal setting as a team going into this year?
It was, just put in the preparation. We had a new coach last year, and now it's his second year. Now he's kind of, built into us, and he's gotten used to us as players. And it was just a whole weird year last year. And now it was kind of like, all right, like from the beginning, what do we want to do as a team? And, it was like competitiveness. We want to work hard. Like, what do we want to be seen as? And now we've kind of gotten that identity as a scrappy team because I know this 3-0 deficit won't stop us.
That's a great play at third, by the way.
Yeah, that's Ty Hudick. He's definitely a great player, and he's been different for us in the field. He's a different fielder, and he's a great hitter.
14th ranked third baseman in Illinois, 150 overall in the class of 2026. I have a feeling we might see him potentially at the senior future games if he's not already locked up. I don't know if you. So when you were here, they had the 13U version of the junior future games. Now they have the senior future games where they're allowing kids who aren't locked up going into their senior year to come down here and get a chance. So
yeah, it's awesome, man. And there's a bunch of great guys, especially with the scene now. A lot of people commit early, but people who don't commit, there's great guys everywhere. And you can find people, in Illinois. You can find people in Wisconsin. You can find all these kids that are great for college programs that still haven't found a home yet as a going into senior year.
I think our scoreboards were good to go, and now we've just switched to travel games that I think happened over the weekend. So I'm not really sure what in the world just happened, but hopefully that gets back on track. But Troy has a 3-0 lead over Lincoln Way East, and Lincoln Way West, meanwhile, trails Calvary Christian 1-0 on that other game. This is the second week of the spring break experience. You're expecting to get on the mound tomorrow for Lincoln Way East. Tell me, when are you going to go for a run? Like, when's the whole preparation going to start?
That's going on as soon as I get home, as soon as I get back to the hotel. I'm going to, I like to go on my run when it's night, but that's when I'm back home and I know, like, where I'm going. Now I'm going to probably have to run when it's lay down and find out, where I'm running because I don't want to, have bad things happen in Georgia because I just don't know this place. But it's not like a jog, it's a sprint. I'm just trying to sweat.
How long do you go for?
I'd say it's like 20 to 30 minutes. So it's a good amount, but it's sprinting and then stopping, sprinting, stopping.
Intervals.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So you're going to play Coffee tomorrow at 3:30. So that's the game that you're expected to be on the mound for.
Yeah.
So what do you know about those guys?
I know they're from here. I know all the teams here are good. And then I'll kind of get the scouting report tonight about like lefties, righties, batting average. How many doubles did this kid hit? Who's their like really overall best hitter, highest contact? I'll find out all that stuff, but it's also, you're not trying to think about it too much, especially on the mound if you're trying to pitch around guys, especially like early in the game. I won't be going far into the game. I'm still on a pitch count, so yeah, I'm just trying to attack every hitter the same. I know my fastball plays well, and I know my off-speed stuff is plus. So just showing fastball early and, hitting in the zone especially is important.
So they got 2 Mercer commits, so Division I guys. Michael Strickland, righty, and first baseman, 22nd ranked righty in Georgia. And they got Ben Fussell, who's also a Mercer commit, 3rd ranked shortstop in Georgia. So they do have some dudes. So it's going to be a good opportunity for you to get out there. So when you were coming up as a left-handed pitcher, who did you like? You mentioned Adam Wainwright. Who were those guys that you kind of like gravitated towards when you were trying to figure out what do I want to look like? How do I want to move in the mound?
Yeah, when I wanted to, I wouldn't really go after lefties. I feel like this is kind of basic, but as a pitcher, everyone kind of looks to DeGrom.
Yeah.
And everyone looks at his mechanics, and that's what I've kind of really implemented in my mechanics, but kind of as a left-hander. I feel like I'm kind of built like him. I do have, like, a pretty big lower body now, especially, but my upper body's, twitchy. So I really try to but, put my own little twist on his stuff.
Sure.
And then lefties, you like watching Clayton Kershaw pitch. I watched him growing up all the time.
Did you ever try to throw that 12-6 curve?
Gosh, I could not do that just because of my arm slap. But I did throw a slurve last year, and it was too loopy for my liking. It was like 76. And like I said earlier, I want that bullet slider that just plays off my fastball really well.
3-0 lead for Troy over Lincoln Way East. Lincoln Way West trails Calvary Christian 1-0 there in the other game. Jack Bauer in studio with us. So you're on your way to Virginia, and we talked about mental stuff. And was Brandon Geyer at Prep Baseball American Game when you went in 2023? Does the Major League mindset and all that?
No, he was not.
So we had him here at Feature Games last year. He was at last year's All-American Game in Miami. He works with Virginia's players and does a lot of mental coaching with them and stuff. So when you got into that side of it, where did you kind of go for lessons on how to visualize and all that stuff? Because it's not like there's a ton of resources out there.
So my pitching coach at East, Billy Kopp, he's been great for me. He played in the minors and he got called up once, and he basically talks huge. He doesn't really mess around with my mechanics. He talks huge on, the game inside the game. And he really put me onto visualization and stuff like that. And also, talking to my agent as well, it was like, only half of it is the physical part. It's the preparation and the mental preparation before that is a huge part of the game.
Yeah, they say that the biggest thing isn't what you do pregame or postgame. It's like pitch to pitch, right? Like how do you flush? So how do you flush away failure in game? So we talked about maybe if things aren't good in the pen, how do you change that in game? Guy ropes a rocket triple off of you. How do you then regroup for the next pitch?
It's like, stuff like that's going to happen. It's baseball. You're not going to succeed all the time. It's a tough, I feel like it's the toughest game you could play. And the competition's always good. There'll be teams that, just square balls up on you like all the time. And that's happened to me before. And it's like, it's tough to keep going, but you want to keep doing your best, and that's the only way you're going to get better. You want to get better if you just go out there and strike everybody out.
So being a routine guy, was there like when you were really the superstition side of it, was there like meals and stuff, or like how deep did this thing get?
I still have the same meal. I don't even consider that superstition. I feel like that's a feel thing. I have eggs every morning I throw. But when it was superstition, yeah, I would park in the same spot.
What would happen if someone was in the spot?
Oh, it's like I'd park next to it, and then I'd be like, all right, I'm throwing bad today. I'm done. But there's been other things, like in school, because we have school obviously before high school games. It was like, oh, I'm doing the same thing in each class every single day. Even if it's different assignment, I'm doing I'm watching this video, or it just gets down to the smallest things. Everything in the day had to be perfect, and it was like that just becomes just kind of a burden. It doesn't really.
I would assume so. Yeah.
Exactly. It doesn't really make you feel better. Routines really make you feel better. Superstition doesn't help.
Did your parents sit you down and be like, "You got to knock this off. Trust the talent, trust the preparation, and you don't need to have all these superstitions"?
Yeah. No. It was like a talk with myself. I was like, you know what? I'm tired of doing this. I'm tired of wearing the same outfit every single day I throw and stuff like that. And it was just too much on my mind, especially since I wasn't, pitching how I wanted to last year. It was like, screw this stuff. I know my talent, and I'm just going to go out there and pitch and not overthink it too much. I definitely, there's a lot of people in baseball that I know that overthink too much, and it becomes, a huge part of their failure or downfall. So, going out there and playing, but, trying to think but not overthink.
So Tyler Matzik, who was here in Atlanta, won a World Series of the Braves. He was a first-round draft pick by the Rockies. He ended up getting the yips, and then he ended up he worked with this former Navy SEAL and went out to this boot camp with them. It's not like the guy ever lost the ability to throw, but he was just overthinking it so much, and they had to basically get him down to the basics, where you're trying to have the way the seams feel off your fingers to try to even get yourself, when you get so detached from positive thinking and trusting your stuff.
It's especially on the mental side of the game, when you're pitching, if you start throwing, this happened to me last year, trying to find the zone, and you're saying just throw a strike. That's the hardest time to throw a strike, when you're just telling yourself throw a strike. That's why on 3-2, I honestly try to throw it, almost as hard as I can, because it's just my mechanics and the stuff that I've worked on in the offseason. I know it can, play into the zone, and if I'm thinking throw a strike, I'm probably going to spike it or just leave it up. And it's kind of like in the infield, when you feel the ground ball, you don't want to be thinking. And when you're in your motion, you don't want to be thinking, just throw a strike right here.
So when you had that conversation with yourself, when you stopped all the superstition, did you feel like it was a breakthrough for you to kind of just get some weight off of you?
Yeah, especially in the offseason, I was like, I'm just going to put this work in, and I gained a bunch of weight. And then going into the first game this high school season, I was like, I know how much work I put in. And I saw myself in bullpens. I saw myself in live ABs, and I was like, I know I can, go out and dominate anybody, and I don't need to do all this extra stuff just to make my mind feel right. The routine was enough for me, and I don't need to park in the same parking spot now.
So you had a really busy 2023, and you think about area code games and the Prep Baseball All-American game, and so you end up shutting it down in 2024. You didn't do all the extra summer stuff. You put the focus on the weight, and then you saw the results this year, the first times you were taking the mound. What was that like to be off for an extended period of time for the first time in a long time?
Yeah, it was great, man. I didn't have to worry about throwing. I just got to straight lifting and, drinking protein shakes and, eating all I wanted to eat. I'm not a huge eater, but I had to put on that weight, and I knew how important it was for me and my development. I kind of weighed the same weight all from freshman, sophomore, and junior year. And I was like, it's probably a time to put on some weight. And, I put in a lot of effort, and I do have a lot of hard work, but I feel like the previous years, it wasn't really in the weight room. And then this past year, the main focus was, building my lower body and building the core up to standard, because it wasn't sustainable, me throwing 95 at 175 pounds.
I mean, you look at guys like Spencer Strider. I mean, the Quadzilla,
exactly.
Obviously you build that lower half. I mean, you're able to, you've seen the results of that going from 95 to now triple digits. So what's the squats up to?
I'm not maxing out, but it would be up to 300 for
nice.
5. And my legs are definitely my strongest point. And, it's not just, moving heavyweight. It's also moving heavyweight fast.
Functional weight,
yes. And then also working on explosive work and, a mix of all that stuff. I've been thankful for a bunch of great people around me who've been able to, put me into great situations and, just give me the directions, and I just put in the effort. So I don't have to do any thinking about, what lift am I going to do today? So it's just kind of, just go out there and put in the work. And that's what I really focused on this year.
So when you're on the road like this, how are you still going to get that work in?
So there's a couple of things that I'm going to be missing out on. So I go to a Bow Dome back in Illinois, and I go there every single day before I throw. And, when we're in Georgia, there's not really a weight room unless it's the hotel weight room. So, and there's a couple things I do with a barbell, so I'm going to have to improvise. And I've definitely done a lot of improvising over the past couple of years with how many hotel rooms I've been in. But, again, it's not superstition anymore. It's just routine. So just making sure I feel good. And I don't need to do all this specific stuff right away. Obviously, I do those things back home because I'm able to, and it's not, a huge burden. But I don't think, here is going to be any different from back in Illinois.
Okay, so in Illinois, you guys have your staple foods up there. What's the best fast food spot in your estimation in Metro Chicago?
I love Portillo's, man.
We're getting
Portillo's
we're getting a Portillo's just down the road from here. Three exits down. So you ever come back, you'll be able to hit Portillo's. So my wife lived in Chicago for time. For her birthday, her mom would actually send it to our house, so we would get the Italian beefs in the gigantic box on our front porch. So yeah, my wife is super stoked about Portillo's being 2 exits down from our house. So.
And I also love Culver's.
There you go. We got Culver's down. There's one down
here?
75.
Okay, never mind. Then they're just not Illinois and Wisconsin exclusive.
So they used to be they were in St. Louis as well, and then they started going from Wisconsin out, and then now they're in the South. Yeah, we got one. We are on exit 283 here in Emerson. If you go down to 10 miles down, there's one down the street. So you guys can take the bus down there and hit some Culver's. What's the order at Portillo's? We have a wasp in here, by the way, which is not a welcome friend. But yeah, that's a beast. So I hope you're not allergic.
Hopefully it doesn't come down here.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a bacon cheeseburger.
That's what you get at Portillo's?
Yes. I'm not really a huge roast beef type of guy.
Not even the hot dogs.
Oh, I'll get the hot dogs.
Okay.
Absolutely. If I want to switch it up, but I love myself a good bacon cheeseburger, and I'll get the fries, and then if I just hit a good lift, then I'll get the shake as well, because I'm not trying to put on fat. I'm just trying to put on good weight.
So our problem is that we rarely get it, right? So when you get it, you go to those staples. So you go to the beef, you go to the hot dog. But when we have it by us, then I can.
Oh yeah, it's 5 minutes from my house, so whenever it's like mom's like, oh, I'm not making dinner tonight, it's like, all right, I'll just go to Portillo's.
And the shake is literally the chocolate cake shake, where they take the whole slice of chocolate cake and shove it in there.
So it's not very healthy if you're not staying active, but especially in season, people lose a lot of weight. I've already seen that in myself. I've lost probably a pound or so from my first 2 starts, and trying to keep that weight on and still lifting in season is important as well.
All right, 3-0 is the lead for Troy over Jack Bauer's Lincoln Way East team, and that one just was ripped into the corner, but it looks like our camera did not adjust, and that was caught for the first out of that inning. Calvary Christian continues to lead at Lincoln Way West 1-0. So on your way to potentially Virginia, tell me about the draw of the program. You've at this point been committed there for, we're going on almost 3 years at this point. But what was the draw of the program?
Yeah, after future games, everything changed for me. I was taking 5 calls a night in my hotel room. Things were just different. I'd go back home and I'd be, on the phone from, after school until bedtime. And with Virginia, with Coach Dickinson and Coach O'Connor, it was, really a family mindset, and they really cared about me not only as a player but as a person. And my parents loved that. They weren't just going to abandon me, after one bad outing. And you see that in some other programs, and they've definitely, proved that with other guys. And, they've also shown that they can, they don't let people just come here and just, not slack off. They make people put in the effort for a starting job, and that was also a huge part for us. And obviously a great academic school, great campus, all of that. But the coaching staff definitely made it a huge part for me. going there over some other great schools.
Did it get old when you were getting the calls like that? I mean, it has to be, one, it has to be overwhelming, but then the second, at first I'm sure it's awesome when you're getting all these phone calls, and then after a while where you're like, oh, this has got to stop.
Yeah, it was like, every single day that stuff was happening, and it did get kind of old, but I'm grateful to be in this situation. I'm grateful to have the talent that God gave me, and that's why I kept thinking to myself, there's not many people who are grateful to or have the chance to be in this situation, and there's not many people. There's some people that can't even play baseball. So just being grateful for the moment, thankful that I'm playing baseball at this high of a level and getting a chance to play at a great school and getting looked at for the draft. It's just all great opportunities.
I think that was MJ Shelley, right? He just absolutely ripped that 95-1 off the bat for a double.
Yeah, he is. He's definitely been a glue guy for us. He's a senior, and he's been starting since last year. He's our, second guy in the lineup, center fielder, and he's on the football team.
Looks like a football player.
Yeah, we've got a good amount of football players on our team, and our seniors definitely are taking the lead this year. I feel like me with the pitchers, and then MJ and Charlie Kosick as well in the lineup. Number one is also taking the lead. We're a young team, but we got 3 seniors right there, and then Baud's also a senior. So
when you committed as early as you did to Virginia, and you had that long of a time until signing day, I'm not asking you to give away any teams or anything like that, but even after you're committed, how much did you still get like feelers from people trying to figure out how firm you were on Virginia?
I honestly didn't get really many. I feel like they know that like if a guy is going to Virginia, it's not like the type of guy that will just flip. And I never really thought about flipping. And I've been locked in since the day I committed because me and my parents wanted to make sure that we did the process right. And we weren't going to be, a group of people that just, pick a school and then decommit a year later and then decommit after that. We have always been going to the same high school, public school in our area. So we never like the type to, just like jump ship, I'd say. Ooh, West is losing 3-0.
You like that, though. You like to see them losing 3-0, right?
No, I mean, they're a really good team.
Well, they are a really good team, but, there's still a rivalry there.
Oh, absolutely. But, if they beat them, that makes us look better if we beat them.
Okay, that's true.
Actually, we will, so. I can guarantee 1 out of the 2 conference games, we will win.
So do you have a text with Essenberg? Like, are you guys going back and forth on stuff?
Oh, yeah. When I faced him in live ABs, it was kind of rough, but I got him to 3-2, and then I hung a fastball right where the spot he likes it, and that's the kind of the part where like, oh, I know he likes it there, and he took it. It was pretty far.
Well,
we were in a dome, so it was hard to tell, but I'm pretty sure it would have been gone on a field in Illinois. So now it's kind of all mind games about what pitch am I going to throw him and how am I going to attack him, and I also know a couple other guys I work out with there, and I play catch with them. So like they see my stuff every single day.
So they know the drill.
Exactly, and they know my fastball run and stuff like that.
So Connor's probably grown tired of me telling the story, but we had him here last year for the spring break experience, and they were facing an Olentangy team from Ohio, and he had Parker Van Englenhoven, who's on his way to Louisville. And Parker hit Connor on the ankle, and he went down. He was on the ground for like 2 minutes, and we honestly thought like he had broken his ankle or something. And coaches come over, and he's like waving him off. And after a little while, he gets up and he continues the AB, and he hits a roller to third base and almost has an infield single off of it after being down. I was like, that's a tough dude.
He is a tough kid, man. And I've seen that, for the past 3 years in summer ball. Our families have gotten super close over time, and obviously me and Connor are both lucky enough to get invited to great events like such as USA Baseball, and having him there and not just, being the only Illinois kid there. And obviously he lives 10 minutes from my house. So I actually went out to the Super 60 to watch him.
Yeah, I saw the picture of you guys together there,
to watch them and support them, and they're guys I've grown up with for a while now. So it's great seeing them succeed, and I love watching Connor succeed because, it'll make – this is something he would say. It'll make me look better, when I hit a bomb off you. So that's what he said when I had my first outing. I was like, okay. I'm not a huge trash talk type of guy, and Connor kind of is. We're kind of like completely on different ends of the spectrum. So I don't kind of entertain. He talks a lot of trash. I don't really entertain it. I'm just like, we'll see on the field. Obviously, he talked a lot of trash after those live ABs.
He's a swag guy, though, like with all the gear and all that stuff. And I talked to him about that at Super 60, and it's just like there's just like a different. And he was talking earlier about his aura. He's
God.
He's just on. It's a different level with him.
Yeah, he wears that cyan arm sleeve with those gray jerseys, and then the bright orange cleats.
Yep.
I'm not that type of guy. I've got just an arm sleeve. That's really about it. Same color as the jersey, but he's a hitter. It's different. He definitely has swagger in the box, and any pitcher, they can tell that he's a good hitter as soon as he steps up to the box, and it's not just because he's committed to Kentucky. It's because of his confidence in himself. Even if he strikes out like 3 times in a day, that 4th AB, he's still going to go up and, rip one probably.
Lucas Acevedo, at the plate right now for Lincoln Way West. They got a runner at first. They're down 3-0, as Jack mentioned, and meanwhile, Lincoln Way East is trailing Troy 3-0. Jack, I'm going to let you get out of here because I've taken up way too much of your time, and I don't want your coach to get mad at me because we've been here in with you a lot longer than I expected. But, man, I'm excited to see you on the mound tomorrow. Enjoy being back here at LakePoint Sports for your last time as a high school player, man. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here in studio. We'll be back with more of our Spring Break Experience watch party.
Next. Stop.
You got it?
No. Keep going.
Again.
Next.
If you don't pick one.
Oh, you have time. Am I keeping you from your job? Next. I don't even know where I am anymore. Stop.
Do we finally have it?
Let's go back to the beginning.
Are you
Your
joking?
electric future customized. The fully electric Audi Q4 e-tron.
Making every second count. That is how I live. And this is how I hydrate. Body Armor Sport Water. Water for the athlete and all of us.
This is ready to go online. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. How about the best network imaginable? Let's invent that.
That's what we do here.
Quick survey. Who wants their internet to work pretty much everywhere?
And it needs to run smooth, like super smooth.
Hey, should you be drinking that?
It's decaf.
Because we're busy women.
We don't have time for lag or buffering. Who doesn't want internet that helps AI do your homework even faster?
Come again?
Sorry, what was that?
Introducing the next generation 10G network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now.
Welcome back in studio. This is the Spring Break Experience watch party. Grayson Rosen now steps in our call to the bullpen. Can you throw 100 miles an hour?
No.
Okay.
Nowhere close, actually.
Yeah, Jack Bauer was absolutely awesome, and he probably would have stayed in here the entirety of the game, but I did not want his coaches to come back with me and be like, hey, we wanted him to track pitches or whatever maybe they had in store for the Virginia signees. That game's going on, but he pitches tomorrow at 3:00 against Coffee County, so that's going to be a lot of fun. That Coffee County crew is they're going to bring some ballers too, so it's going to be a good matchup without question. So either get out here to LakePoint Sports, or you'll be able to check it out on Aware TV. So you will not want to miss that. A guy who I think very much putting himself in the conversation to be a first-round draft pick when you're a left-hander that can hit triple digits, and you've got the kind of sweeper that Jack Bauer has. So he is going to be an absolute weapon for somebody, whether it's going to be Virginia next year or it's going to be a major league club in their farm system.
Yeah, we're talking about the big names on campus right now. Connor Essenberg at the plate in that top left.
Yeah, man, I should have kept Jack in here because he was talking a ton about his relationship with Connor, and Connor brings a lot more swag, as Jack
smoked by Troy.
Jack
that
said.
One out. That's another home run for Troy.
2 home runs for there. 99.5 off the bat, meanwhile, by Connor Essenberg, and he is on the move, on his way into second base, man. He's absolutely coasting. Essenberg's going to hold at second base, and he's got himself an RBI double. Meanwhile, Troy has opened up a 5-0 lead over Jack Bauer's Lincoln Way East team, and That was Matthew Hempker with the home run. So Hayden Frey with a 3-run shot in the first inning, and now Matthew Hempker has provided a 2-run shot here in the bottom of the third, and Troy is up 5-0 over Lincoln Way East.
They came to play. You're not going to see that all the time. I mean, I was down there taking some photos of Frey's home run when he hit it, and, I mean, he knew it off the bat. It was gone. Just about everybody knew it as well. It was absolutely crushed, and then that one sneaks over the wall. It was obviously it took some power to get it out there, but impressive nonetheless.
Troy, Ohio, was talking to some of the parents and their coaches beforehand, about 40 miles from my hometown of Bellefontaine, so all too familiar with Troy. Was talking to Coach Ty Welker. He's got over 300 career wins, by the way. He's been at Troy for a very long time, so absolute winner there with that program. But last season they lost in the district finals of Ohio's Division II to Mason. Mason is not the guy who's producing the game for us, but Mason, Ohio is home of Kings Island, which is a big-time theme park.
Yeah.
Foul down the left side there for Lincoln Way West.
Good play right there at the mound.
Essenberg at second base. Jack Bauer was talking about the gear for Essenberg, and you see right now he's got the contrasting bright blue, baby blue, sliding mitt, wristband.
Yeah, he's got it all. I saw him out there in right field, and he's got everything on him.
Likes his gear.
Yeah.
When he's at Kentucky, if he winds up at Kentucky next year, and that one is up the middle, and I believe Connor Essenberg is going to make his way all the way home, and he does. Now it's a 3-2 ball game as Lincoln Way West is finding themselves offensively here in the third.
And that came off the bat of Michael Pettit, Notre Dame commit.
Yeah, you spent some time with Michael Pettit pregame, so this is kind of like for us, and you know we see some good games during the weekends during these travel events that we have this time of the year, but we get some dudes during these spring break experiences, and it's hard not to get excited about the level of players that we have over these runs.
Yeah, and the funny thing about Pettit, I was asking him, I was like, "Oh, are you going to be in the lineup today?" And he was like, "I don't really know." He was like, because he said it himself, he's like, "I'm not really a hitter."
Yeah,
but smoked that one up the middle, 98.6. So I think he is a hitter. He might just stop hitting though when he gets on campus at Notre Dame.
I have really liked Jacob Baud. Things have not gone well for him. He's given up 2 home runs so far, but I really like the mechanics and very Max Fried-esque with a little step back. Obviously, he's run into some trouble here, but I think it's really hard to gauge a pitcher this early in the season because, look, I mean, Jack Bauer throwing triple digits is one thing, but I think for guys, and especially when they're coming down from the northern states and they're getting an opportunity to come down here and pitch, they may not look the same way that they're going to look come May or June.
Yeah, I mean, you could kind of see a comparison this week on our broadcast. Today we've got these games with a lot of these guys kind of in their first couple weeks, maybe their first games of the season. Well, we're coming down to the state playoffs here in Georgia, and we're going to have some teams that you will see in the state playoffs here on Thursday and Friday.
Yep.
We're going to see these arms in mid-season condition. So it's kind of an interesting comparison to see these guys still kind of working through some of the motions here and there, but on Thursday and Friday we'll get to see guys that have been kind of back at it for a couple months now.
And that is going to be the Battle for Bartow, so you will not want to miss that. We'll be back for another watch party on Thursday as we bring you that 4 games in the 12 o'clock window. We'll have Cherokee versus Campbell, Kell against Ringgold, Newton and Alexander, and nationally ranked Etowah versus Stony Brook out of New York. And we're going to be back on Friday, and I don't know that there has been a more highly anticipated game that we've broadcast in a very long time here out of LakePoint Sports, but Etowah is going to face Houston County Friday at noon, and that is going to be, you can't miss that one.
Yeah, that's number 1 versus number 3 in the state of Georgia, so a big one that I think everybody across the state is circling that day, and we'll be here with the live broadcast.
And I anticipate there's going to be a lot of MLB scouts at that one, too. I think that one's going to be a lot of fun. You'll, of course, as always, be able to find that for free on Facebook, X, and YouTube.
Yeah, and you'd assume that because Etowah's gotten this week break, they can kind of play with their pitching rotation a little bit.
Yep.
So you might see Jackson Rose pitch in one of the 2 games they have in the doubleheader on Thursday. That way, Matthew Sharman pitches on Friday. But either way, I mean, you've got a great pitcher on the mound for Etowah in that Friday game. But the game's going on here. Lincoln Way West. I had to make sure I knew which one it was.
So it's confusing. It's a little bit confusing on the scoreboards because they
Yeah.
both say Lincoln. So I almost feel like I got to talk to the scorekeepers that maybe they should have put like LWW and LWE on the scoreboards just to avoid some confusion. But we know that Lincoln Way East is playing Troy and Lincoln Way West is playing Calvary Christian.
Yes, and Lincoln Way West is back into this game. They're down 3-0 coming into this inning. You had the big RBI double from Essenberg and then an RBI single with a advance from Michael Pettit.
Let's see who we've got on the mound for Troy right now. I believe that. See, it's hard to see the numbers on the pitcher right now for Troy.
I've also seen a couple of their guys didn't have numbers. Or one or two of their guys I saw had a jersey with no number, so hopefully it's not the pitcher. That way we can identify him.
It's Colton Akins on the mound right now.
He doesn't have a number on.
Yeah, it does not have a number. He is number 16, but you cannot see number 16. So we might go get some athletic tape and put 1 and a 6 on the back for Colton Akins. But a lot of these guys play for Miami Valley Prospects. Colton is the 21st ranked catcher in the state of Ohio, 191 overall in the class of 2026. He's got a pop time down to 192 with a 77 catcher velo, but he's looked pretty good on the mound so far against this Lincoln Way East team. But that's a rocket 91.5 off the bat, and that is going to drop down for a base hit.
It seems like just about everything we're seeing get hit right now is 90-plus exit
Yeah,
velo.
at least some serious exit velos in this game so far. And I mentioned this to you when we arrived today for our pregame prep for this one. Calvary Christian, a 3-2 lead over Lincoln Way West right now. I was really unfamiliar with this Calvary Christian team because we just don't see a lot of these players up here in LakePoint sports. But this is a team that has won the GAPPS, that's the Georgia Association of Private and Parochial Schools state championships in 2021, 2, 3, and 4. But they do not have a single player ranked in the state of Georgia.
Yeah, it's obviously kind of tricky because it's hard to get eyes on the guys that aren't playing GHSA baseball.
Yep.
And I think that because of that, obviously you say that, and then Keon Johnson's the number 1 player in the class of 2026.
Well, yeah. But Keon made it to a lot of showcases.
Yes.
We saw.
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
I love to tell this story because when Keon was in 8th grade, and there was already the talk of him being one of the top 5 players in the country in his class. I got here early that day for a showcase. Keon and his mom were waiting outside the gate for the gate to open because he wanted to get in here and take some extra swings.
Yeah.
And this was already a guy who was a known commodity coming out of Macon. So it was like, okay, this guy's on a different level. But yeah, I mean, certainly being here and being part of those events, I mean, there's a reason the prep baseball moniker is Be Seen.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's a big part of it. And not to say that these Calvary Christian guys, I mean, 4 consecutive state championships is 4 consecutive state championships. These guys can play, and they can absolutely get it done, and they're leading a really good, well, they're all tied up now at 3-3, but they were leading 3-0 against a really good Lincoln Way West teams with a guy in Connor Essenberg who might hear his name called in July's draft.
Yeah, and I mean, you can kind of expect it. Like, these Calvary Christian guys, they'll probably... You know, the best players on their team are still going to go and probably play at the next level.
Yep.
Just like anybody else's schools, even if it's a small school, it's just they don't necessarily get the initial eyes on them. And if they're in a place that it's just kind of hard to get to a showcase, it's hard to get anywhere where you can have the eyes on you, you're just kind of out of luck, unfortunately, at first. But they still get an opportunity to showcase themselves, and this is a fantastic opportunity for them to showcase themselves. So best of luck to them for this week and anytime they're out there on the field.
5-0 the lead for Troy over Lincoln Way East. We've got a tie ball game over in Lincoln Way West and Calvary Christian. Lincoln Way East is absolutely threatening, though, right now. They've got a runner at second base, and that one goes back foul. They have Danny Mackey III at the plate right now.
It's a good name.
It is a really good name. Danny Mackey is the 15th ranked first baseman in Illinois in 2025, a Roosevelt University signee. Exit velo's up to 90.1 bat speed at north of 68 miles an hour. First baseman, a right-handed pitcher.
He's a tall guy.
6'5", 190 pounds. Puts that one into right field, got him on the run. Able to haul that in for the catch, but the runner's going to tag up, and he's on his way into third, and they got him at third, trying to take advantage of that deep ball into right field, and strong arm from Troy mows him down at third base.
I got to admit, I was looking at the wrong umpire. I was looking for a call from the field umpire, but our home plate umpire came all the way to third to get the better angle on it, so good work there. I was looking, and I was like, wait, how did you know he was out? But I was just looking at the wrong guy.
Hats off to United umpires bringing the full crew for these games. I think this is a really cool opportunity for these teams to get down here, though, and have these opportunities to play on these fields, have the top flight United umpires crews here. But man, just to get out here and just have some fun and play some teams you're unfamiliar with. I mean, as Jack Bauer mentioned, Lincoln Way East and Lincoln Way West are going to be playing each other a couple times in region play once almost as soon as they get back to Illinois. So I'm expecting some chirping from these two sides as they're on conjoining fields right now.
Yeah, I've always thought it's interesting when we get teams like that come in town and you kind of have to make sure, okay, well, in the schedule, these two teams can't play each other because obviously they're not going to play a region game multiple states away. But
it'd be pretty great if we could get that, though.
Oh, it would be awesome. But I doubt I'm not sure. I'm sure you know what the Illinois, I think it's the IHSAA or something.
Yep.
I'm sure they would not be okay with that. They've seemed to have a lot of things that differ from anybody else's opinion.
Meanwhile, we got a double for Calvary Christian, and they are not going away quietly after giving up that 3-0 lead. Yeah, the rest of the schedule for Calvary Christian, they're going to play Homewood Flossmoor, another Illinois team, tomorrow at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. Then they got Coffee County at 5:45. Then Wednesday, they're going to face Lincoln Way East at 10 a.m. Lincoln Way West, meanwhile, they play this Troy team that's playing Lincoln Way East tomorrow at 10. Then they'll play Troy again on Wednesday at 10 and wrap things up with Coffee County at 5:45 on Wednesday. Lincoln Way East will play Coffee on Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. That's the game that Jack Bauer will be pitching. And then, just as I mentioned, they play Calvary Christian on Wednesday at 10. So plenty of action, and pass ball runner takes off for third for Lincoln Way East, that much closer to their first run.
Yeah, he totally lost that one. I think he was going for a breaking ball, and it sent it behind the batter.
Deep drive, runners taking off for third after the catch, and Lincoln Way West now is going to see a runner reach third for Calvary Christian. Did they get him?
No, he is safe. The ball rolled past, I think. I think he just kind of came down awkward on the slide, maybe.
Oh, great play at second base by Troy. Man, they are playing some absolute defense. Strand a runner at third, and Troy continues to lead 5-0 over Lincoln Way East as that one is rolling along in the fourth inning. Man, they've had some spectacular infield play in that game.
Yeah, they look fantastic on both sides right now. See if they can get back into the scoring column again. Yeah,
top players for Troy, Hayden Frey, who hit that first inning home run on his way to Toledo. He's the 10th-ranked left-handed pitcher in Ohio. Being a Bowling Green grad, Toledo is their biggest rival, so this is the Battle of I-75, which Hayden's going to know all about. Carson Riddle is a Bluffton signee, second baseman for them, so it might have been Carson that made that play right there. Did not, unfortunately, get the team's lineups ahead of this game. It was a weird day, right? Like, we expected that we were going to get these games started at 2 o'clock. Then it became 3, then it became 4. I mean, we had some really nasty storms coming through Metro Atlanta, so we were all kind of on storm watch. I was talking to Lincoln Way East coaches, like, what'd you guys do? And they're like, basically, we just sat in the hotel room waiting to get word that we could come over and start. Because they said you didn't start doing anything.
Yeah, you can't. There's nothing to do. I mean, you weren't going to sit in the parking lot in the bus until the weather cleared up if you were already at the hotel. So, yeah, it definitely puts these teams in an odd spot when there's weather delays and they're coming from out of state.
Lincoln Way West, meanwhile, we just saw Caden Kopax. Tyler Bartley just laced an RBI double into the left field corner. And I'm actually giving Lincoln Way West credit for what Calvary Christian is doing, because that was Tommy Irvine who delivered that double. I told you, I'm familiar with this team to the point where I'm giving credit to their RBIs to other players. But Tommy Irvine coming through with the double for Calvary Christian. They now got a 4-0 lead over Lincoln Way West. Tommy Irvine, by the way, hitting .357. He's got a team best .550 on base percentage going into this game. Guy can absolutely get it done. Yeah. Like I said, there are some players on this team. It's just we were unfortunately unfamiliar with a lot of them because of maybe the lack of them being up here for prep baseball events. But, they have absolutely got some dudes on this team.
Do we know if any of them are going to any kind of like JUCO programs or?
None of them that I saw right now. Nobody listed on their roster at this point is assigned to any program. So that may just be a matter of it not being reflected on their prep baseball profiles. A lot of them didn't have prep baseball profiles, so for the research had to go to look up Huddle and other organizations. We'll say that. Man, I mean, Bryson Brooks. Left fielder for them, hitting .372 with 14 RBIs. He's got 3 home runs already this season of 4 doubles. So, I mean, they've got some guys that are just absolutely getting it done. Camp Houston hitting .426, the team high on that team. Okay. Yeah, a number of guys who are just absolutely getting it done. I love this. Austin Wiggins, who's an outfielder, 2025 outfielder for them. Part of an archery team that was runner-up in the state championships, and he was 3rd in his division, named All-State. So, should it come to it and we get into a Hunger Games situation, Austin Wiggins from Calvary Christian is the guy I want out there on my team.
Let's see.
Oh, man, that was dazzling play by Lincoln Way East. And
a lot of ground covered there.
That was fantastic work.
Not sure who's over there at third base right now, but just covering
that's Ty
serious
That's Ty Hudnick, and that's a guy that Jack Bauer and I were talking about because currently Hudnick at 2026 plays travel ball for Illinois Premier, currently uncommitted. That looks to me like a kind of guy you might see at senior games.
That's a great shout because that was a heck of an athletic play he made there from third base, covering some serious ground, backing up the pitcher. Giving himself a much better angle than the shortstop.
And that's a kid who's currently unranked in the state of Illinois.
Wow.
And I've just seen a couple dazzling plays by Tyler Hudnick at third base.
I mean, we're really fortunate, obviously, being in the state of Georgia. We get a ton of talent in the state of Georgia. But with Illinois and Ohio showing some representation in the spring break experience games, those are also just states that are just stacked. When you go down the rankings, it's unbelievable the kind of talent you'll find across these states.
We do have a new pitcher in for Lincoln Way East, and this is Tyler Omansky, preseason All-State underclass this year in the state of Illinois. Plays for Chicago Elite. We got a fastball around 83 for him on the prep baseball profile. He's got a changeup around 69 to 74 and a curveball 67 to 69. When you got a guy on your pitching staff that throws 100, I think the first thing you're doing is going, what do you do? Like, how'd you do? Because I mentioned this to Jack pregame, talked to him about it a little bit when he was in here. When I saw him at Prep Baseball All-American game in Milwaukee in 2023, he was throwing 95.
Wow.
Now he's sitting at 97 and hitting triple digits.
That's unbelievable.
And the craziest thing is the biggest path for him getting there was taking last fall off.
Wow.
So he took a break for the first time since he was in 8th grade, bulked up, ate a ton of food, and he comes out this fall and he's hitting triple digits. Coming out this spring and hitting triple digits.
That's unbelievable. You're just not going to see that anywhere, really.
Yeah.
It is really hard to come by.
Well, I mean, no offense to all the pitching coaches out there, but I think a lot of what you hear is, okay, let's refine your mechanics. Let's look a little. Let's work on some arm slot stuff. Let's try to to build strength. Let's work on the push off. Let's do all this additional. Let's do some plyometric stuff. And then you hear, I basically didn't throw and I put on a bunch of weight and worked on my legs, and now I put 5 mile an hour on my fastball.
Yeah, and of course, it's not like, somebody out there right now can just go and do that and then all of a sudden you're throwing 100. He's got the base, and he's obviously been coached over the years. So he's probably maximized these different things in his game already. He probably has got the push off how he needs it to be and whatnot. And then he adds in that he's already at 95 with that. Then he adds on the bulk up and getting stronger and working on different things as well. And when you put all that together, that's how you find these guys that put 100s up on the radar gun, and that's how you find guys that make it to the next level like that as well.
Virginia is a fantastic program. I have a hard time believing Jack Bauer is going to wind up in Charlottesville. I mean, when you tell me a guy hits triple digits from the left side and he's got a sweeper that has a 3,000 RPM on it, I mean, that feels like first-round draft pick stuff to me. But
Definitely.
We'll have to wait and see in July. But
Virginia, by the way, has a very good recruiting class coming in from the class of 2025. So, obviously, missing Jack Bauer he'll certainly be missed if he does not make it to campus. But Virginia's got quite a recruiting class coming in to make things happen.
One of the things I found interesting in talking with Jack, and if anyone missed it, we'll have that on our social media channels. You'll be able to find the whole interview of him clipped out on YouTube as well, was, okay, you throw triple digits, but how do you increase the RPMs and the spin rate on that ball so it doesn't become, as Bobby Cox used to say, guys timing up a jet?
Yeah.
You know, because I was giving him, you know, average RPMs on guys in the major league level that are sitting 97 or higher, and you got guys like Paul Skeens around 2,200 RPM, Hunter Green around 2,300, Jared Jones 2,500, Garrett Crochet, the only lefty, meanwhile, that's averaging 97 or higher, sitting around 2,500.
Yeah.
He said he's gotten around 22, around 2,400, but how do you make that the norm? Because I mean, if you're going to get to a point where guys can match velo.
Definitely.
But how does the ability to put enough spin on it where the movement becomes...
Yeah, and that's the difficult thing about throwing harder is that you have to have the rising spin rate along with that to match. Because if there's a guy throwing 85 and there's a guy throwing 90, and they both throw 2,000 RPMs on the fastball, the 85 is way better to see. If you're a college coach or whoever, you're going to like the way that 85 looks from a scouting perspective than what the 90 looks with that same RPMs. So, I actually just, I don't want to spoil my interview, but one of the things I brought up with Michael Pettit is that at future games, he topped out at 89. Prior, he's topped out at 91. He had a spin rate of 2,466 as a left-handed pitcher.
Wow.
That is so huge for anybody going forward. When you see that kind of number, but it's how do you go with that? What do you pair with it? How does the fastball look? How are your mechanics? How consistent are you? The tunneling, everything like that adds up. And it just comes back to, like, it's not just about that number that you put up. It's about everything else that comes along with it.
I think that's what's made Ben Joyce so interesting, right?
Definitely.
As he's developed at the major league level. I mean, he was obviously, everyone was watching at Tennessee when he's, hitting those velo numbers that he's hitting. But then you watch the secondary stuff now, and it just becomes such a weapon. And Jack's got 3,000 RPMs on that slider sweeper, and that's a really wild weapon for him. But he says he's really working on the changeup now. To be able to locate that changeup. I know it's been kind of, as he mentioned, kind of a hit or miss pitch for him at some points. But to find consistency with that, to be able to have that slider sweeper that's going 3,000 RPM, that he can get the kind of run he's getting on it. And you can go, 82 mile an hour off of a changeup and have a guy looking at an 18 mile an hour differential. I mean, this is pretty wild, by the way, to think about a guy throwing a changeup at 82 when that used to be like the average fastball at the major league level 20 years ago.
Yeah, well, and I remember, I feel like DeGrom was maybe the first one where it was like he was throwing a changeup at like 92. Yeah. And everybody was just like, why?
Yeah.
But then, obviously, he put on display why. And it's just that changeup velo in particular is a number that keeps rising. But for some people, and most of the people in the game where their changeup is their pitch, guys like Devin Williams, they're not throwing it harder than anybody else. They get the spin, they get what they need off of it. MLB in Baseball Savant tracks percent of spin that contributes to movement by their release speed. Yep. And you brought up Ben Joyce, and I just looked at this chart the other day. He's like on an island on this chart, all the way out on the right because he throws the ball so hard. But 95.8% of that spin on that fastball is contributing to that movement, and it's unbelievable to see those kinds of numbers from players, and it's something that everybody's aware of now and everybody's working on. I mean, if you go back 20 years, there's probably nobody, or at least very few people, that are going to be talking about spin rate. They're going to be talking about all these different small intricacies that we're tracking now, because it either wasn't available or it just didn't seem important at the time, and now it's so obvious, and now everybody has the access to it. I mean, every other person could probably, that's out here, we could probably ask them, what's your average spin rate on your fastball?
They know,
they probably know.
Yeah.
and it, even as recent as like 10 years ago, you wouldn't have had a single high schooler.
Well,
tell
I
you
think
what it
because I
was.
think a lot of the old conversations used to just be about velo, and then became obviously the understanding of what you could do with spin, and then watching guys do it. So I'd heard this recently that when Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile, everybody said it was impossible. No one was ever going to break the 4-minute mile. When he did it, within the next 2 years, 50 people did it.
Exactly.
So once one person can see it, then it becomes something that can be easily replicable for others. So when you see a guy that's getting the kind of spin rate off of a triple-digit fastball, all of a sudden it doesn't become just about throwing it as hard as you can. It becomes about location, it becomes about run, and it becomes about something completely different because now you've seen somebody else do it.
Yeah, and I mean, that goes for everything in the game. That was a rope right up the middle.
94.4 right up the middle.
Off the bat there. Lincoln Way East trying to get something started here in the top of the 5th. But I think that just goes for every part of the game. And
that was
goes
the aforementioned Kopacks, by the way, that I was throwing out earlier.
Great. That goes for every sport, really. But, like, even anything that starts being figured out, one person's going to open that door, and it's going to go to every. It's the same thing. Shohei Ohtani showed up in the league, was a two-way player, and now all of a sudden all we do is talk about two-way prospects going into college and coming out of college.
So Brendan McKay, when he was coming up out of Louisville and on his way to the Rays, it was like, okay, well, what are they going to make him? What side are they going to make him pick?
Yeah.
If he comes up now like Jack Caglione, it's not about what are they going to make him do. It's like, what can he do?
Yes.
And I think that conversation certainly has changed a lot. And I think guys like Connor Essenberg, who can do both things on his way to Kentucky, it gives a player so much more power, right? And it gives them so many more options. And I think there was a lot of coaches, that maybe were leery of guys, because if you're going to be a two-way player at the collegiate level, not only are you a student athlete, but now you're basically having to do everything twice at the baseball level. So you're having to go through all your position player stuff. Now you got to go do the pitching stuff. After that's over with, then go be a student athlete and get all your coursework done. But I just, to me, it was to the detriment of these major league clubs that they just weren't willing to look at guys like that.
Yeah.
But sometimes it takes a unicorn to change things for everybody else.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's been given a ton more opportunities, and you can directly link it to Shohei Ohtani's success in the MLB.
It will be interesting if we look back on him as somebody who completely changed the complexity of the game. You know, because I think, obviously people want to throw out Babe Ruth and that he was doing that, and he was. I mean, but it was.
But not really.
But it was. But it disappeared for 50 years.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that we weren't talking about players and being able to do both things. Are we going to look back at Ohtani as this kind of this turning point in the game of baseball at the professional level, where we allowed ourselves to see guys as more than one thing?
Yeah, I think obviously time will tell, but it seems like he's already made a lasting impact.
Well, look, he obviously had Tommy John surgery, and we don't know at what point he's going to. If that becomes the continued thing, if it becomes an issue of like, okay, the guy's going to keep getting hurt because he's out there so much.
But I mean, he's not the only guy that's gotten Tommy John. I mean, it's almost worse that all the full-time pitchers are getting it.
I was kind of hoping that the Pirates were going to let Skeens hit.
Yeah. It would have been. There's plenty of guys. I mean, Michael Lorenzen, guys like that that have come through, and they've gotten meaningful at bats, but they're not going to be everyday hitter in the lineup.
But
is the tough thing.
But Skeens could do that.
Yeah.
He did it at Air Force. He did it at LSU. I mean, you think you got an exciting young lineup in Pittsburgh that you're building things around him as one of your centerpieces. You can get another guy in that lineup that can bash. I mean, it's not going to hurt. Yeah,
I think the biggest thing is when they get to the minor leagues, whoever the first coach is or whoever's in charge of their development, do they see them as not only a major league arm or a major league bat, but vice versa? Do they see them as a major league bat and arm? And I think that's really hard to find in anybody.
MJ Shelley now at the plate for Lincoln Way East, and Jack Bauer and I talked a lot about MJ when he was in here, one of his previous ABs, and a really exciting player, Wisconsin Oshkosh signee, 2025. Do you know what the Wisconsin Oshkosh mascot is?
Unfortunately, I don't.
They're the Titans.
Gotcha. Is that D3?
I believe it is.
A lot of those Wisconsin schools are in D3.
Yeah. Preseason All-State upper class in 2024. He's got exit velos are 90.6, and he is looking to get Lincoln Way East on the board in this one in the top of the 5th inning, where they trail Troy 5-0. One misses low.
Yeah, unfortunately, Division III athletics is something I have not quite dipped my toe into yet.
There's time.
Oh, yeah, there's plenty of time. I'm fascinated by Wisconsin Eau Claire. They have like one of the most expensive football facilities in the nation.
Huh. Wasn't aware.
Yeah. There's things to watch at the Division III football level.
Braxton Wilkinson, who's on the mound right now for Calvary Christian, is both a QB and punter.
Wow.
Yeah. Fastball up around 84.
Interestingly enough, a popular thing that happens in high school football is the punter / quarterback, because most teams don't actually have a punter. Like, most teams don't have a kid that's like, I'm going to punt at the next level. So if you just teach your quarterback to be able to kick it, like, however many yards you need it. Yeah, however far you need it down the field, you can constantly have the fake punt thread.
Ben Roethlisberger used to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wilkinson's got a 2-1 count. His team is up 5-3 over Lincoln Way West in that one. If both Lincoln Way teams lose today, can they say they were both looking ahead to each other?
Yeah, I think that could. You obviously can't use that as the excuse necessarily, because the whole thing is you're not, don't look past today.
Yeah, but when it's over your shoulder, the other team's over your shoulder.
That's fair.
It's a little different, right? It's not like you can be like, oh, we got them in a week.
Yeah.
We got them in a week, and if I turn my head, they're standing over there.
That's true. That could definitely check you out a little bit.
Well, that's not to underscore what Calvary Christian and Troy have done so far, because Troy has just come out bashing 2 home runs, resulting in all 5 of their runs. That one's going to go foul down the third baseline, and that AB will continue.
Yeah, Lincoln Way West threatening right now. Got runners on first and second with just 1 out.
See if Braxton Wilkinson's going to continue.
And for Lincoln Way East, I think right now you're maybe starting to get desperate for some runs.
I've said this a bunch of times, but I'm really glad the weather broke, because I honestly did not think we were going to get these in. They talked about us having a thunderstorm warning here in Metro Atlanta until potentially 7 o'clock tonight, but it all shifted east of the city, so we're able to take advantage of this time, and looks like Lincoln Way East is going to find their way on the board, and now it's going to be 5-1. So they get an RBI in that one.
Yeah, our camera didn't flip, but it seemed like from the reaction of the pitcher and the umpire saying that he was safe, looked like maybe the shortstop had a play on it and just dropped it.
Ryan Pearson standing there, number 9 at second base for Lincoln Way East. Wilkinson still pitching for Calvary Christian, up 5-3.
Have y'all seen the new Yankees bats?
Oh, yes.
I was going to bring that up.
I should have brought that up to Jack Bauer to see like what your, because one of my favorite part of it was not the fact that they were so successful with it. It's that the Brewers pitchers were so mad about it post-game.
Yes.
I
can't remember who was it in particular that had the quote being like, "It's the Yankees, so they'll get away with it." I can't remember which one it was, but it was somebody that I think pitched in Game 2 of that series that was just so mad about it.
I mean, for an introduction game, having 12 homers in 12 innings, that is impressive.
Trevor McGill.
Yes. It's kind of unbelievable. I mean, I get it. I mean, the Braves are probably going to be debuting them tonight against the Dodgers, what I'm hearing. We've seen a ton of them used across the league today already. Ryan Jeffers for the Twins used one last night. The Orioles hitting coach said that they're working on it behind closed doors.
So,
I don't know why that is so secretive.
Yeah, Rob Manfred's going to have to make a statement about it. He's going to have to come out, and he's neither.
The thing is, they follow the rules.
They do follow the rules, but these rules can be augmented.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, in the middle of the season, they decided that you can't put on sunscreen if you're pitching.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we had the whole deal 2 years ago with the baseballs.
Yeah.
And where were the baseballs being made? And this baseball is different from the baseball we had a year ago. And run scoring's up, home runs are through the roof, and they changed the baseballs, and everything was altered. So is this going to be a situation where they look at these torpedo bats and say, yes, they are bigger at the top than they are at the bottom. Mm-hmm. They are 2.6 inches in diameter is maximum.
I think it's 2.61 or whatever is the maximum. They follow it.
That's the maximum diameter. Everything meets it. But they could potentially put more restrictions
Definitely.
on it. So I guess we're going to have to wait and see on that one. But I mean, to me, we've got a bunch of bat manufacturers out here. And if you are Camwood or you are Tucci, you are Rawlings, you are very quickly manufacturing those things and getting them out here.
That's been the most interesting part of it to me with the Yankees is that I think 5 batters in the lineup were using them. And, like, I think there's 3 different bat manufacturers that are doing it. So that means that these companies were just getting requests from these players because it was some, like, physicist or whatever. I don't know the exact title of whatever field of study he's in that is on the Yankees payroll that developed this idea. But they were just sending requests to these companies, and they were making them, sending them off, and nobody else was any the wiser. Like, I don't think we saw them in spring training.
No.
And so it was crazy to me that opening day comes, and they're just hitting a bunch of home runs with these bats that we've never seen before. That looks so odd. But
I think a weird look.
The biggest question is, we have wood bat tournaments here starting on Memorial Day weekend.
Are we going to allow them?
How many torpedo bats are we going to see?
I was going to say, how long do you think it's going to take before we start seeing them?
I think we see them by Memorial Day weekend when I think someone's going to have one.
Yeah, I think so, for sure. Unless Avery Hunt strikes them down.
Yeah, we'll see if Prep Baseball steps in. Toby Seibert, by the way, is the new pitcher on the mound for Troy, plays for Next Level Blue during the travel season. 5'9", 180-pound righty trying to shut down Lincoln Way East as they finally got on the board. What a crazy bunt. I want to see the exit velo on that bunt attempt because that thing absolutely went flying. But, obviously, a lot of conversation over the weekend after those torpedo bats. And I think I loved Joe Simpson, the venerable Joe Simpson on the Braves broadcast said, well, those Brewers pitchers could have missed the bats.
Yeah. I mean, it's still... It's still the same amount of surface area and whatnot. It's just it's bigger in a different part of the bat. So just miss the bat. And I think Jazz Chisholm tweeted about it. I want to read his direct
I wonder
tweet
how much you're going to see guys try to establish the inside pitch now. Are you going to try to stop guys?
Or are you trying to go for the outside?
Well, I think you're going to play the inside. You're going to try to keep everything off the heart of the plate at this point more so than ever, right? I mean, you're going to try to avoid horizontal vertical break, and you're just going to be like.
Don't you want them to hit it off the end of the barrel now? Because now there's not as much wood on the end of the barrel. So if you hit something off the end cap, I mean that's going nowhere.
Yeah, we could get a lot of dead balls right back to the pitcher. Yeah, it's going to be fascinating. There will be changes made, and there will be a counterplay by either MLB or pitching staffs. So we'll see how this thing ends up playing out. But it was one of the craziest stories I can remember in years that we've had this kind of a conversation this early in the season. I don't know how much you follow NASCAR. Producer Mason follows NASCAR, but I was a NASCAR reporter for a few years along with college football stuff at Sports Illustrated, and talking to the crew chiefs on the way that they would try to find the most smallest way to get an edge, whether it was, you're just going to have you're just going to get this much more downforce created by just making this very small move, in terms of, what you're doing with the wing or anything along those lines. They would work within those parameters. Technically, they're not cheating, but it's trying to find that little edge. It's very rare that we get these kind of conversations in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sport where the equipment doesn't really change.
Yeah.
But we have seen alterations to the bat over the last couple of years. I mean, Jeff McNeil notably hits with a knobless bat. We saw, I think it was at the start of, not last season, but the season before, I think Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt on opening day had the really big knob.
The huge knob.
Yeah, we've seen people try that end of the bat, but nobody has messed with the barrel. Nobody has messed with the barrel until now, and it, for some reason, freaked people out. That one snakes through the infield. It's going to be a run scored.
92.8 off the bat.
There we go.
Yeah, now we got a 5-4 game. Calvary Christian leading Lincoln Way West, and they are not going quietly. We have seen some bullets fired.
That one came off
game.
Essenberg's bat.
Yeah, he has been up to the task so far today. Delivered a couple rockets off the bat.
See what Michael Pettit's got to follow him up. Last time around, it was RBI double and then RBI single, and then they had advanced on a throwing error that scored Essenberg. So see if Pettit can replay the RBIs again.
We also had the thing back when Barry Bonds was playing about maple bats and ash bats, and that became a point of conversation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the differences.
And there still is people that use the different types throughout the league. I think maple is your standard, but
yeah, the ash became in vogue when Barry Bonds was doing his thing.
Mm-hmm.
The bat was not injected, just the player.
Yeah. Well, and the ash bats are very bad about breaking, and I think they're supposed to be like the ones that break the easiest. But yeah, you've got birch, maple. You can go down the list, but
so are they going to let guys use these torpedo bats in the home run derby at the All-Star game?
I mean, if you're allowed to use them in the game,
and why would you not want to at this point?
Yeah.
You know, if a guy who typically doesn't use it, is he going to start being like, well, if I'm going to be in the home run, I mean, is it Pete Alonso going to maniacally be swinging in the weight room of Truist Park doing curls and getting ready to go out there and hit this deadlift and then go out there with this torpedo bat?
There's another run scored right there for Lincoln Way East, so they continue to
things are getting very interesting. We are all notched up at 5-5 in Lincoln Way West and Calvary Christian.
Getting some good stuff here. Both of these games.
Casey Mickrut is now at the plate for Lincoln Way East.
Yeah, so Pettit must have delivered an RBI. That Jazz Chisholm tweet says, for the idiots that say it's moved to the label, you're an idiot. Nobody's trying to get jammed, so you just moved the wood from the parts you don't use to the parts you do. I think that's probably the best way to look at it, and I think it's a good explanation of it. Because people did keep saying they were moving it to the label, which isn't true.
No.
Got some madness out there trying to field that ball in left field, but another run's going to come across.
Yeah, make it 5-3 as Mickrut comes through with an RBI single, 89.5 off his bat. Lincoln Way's teams making some noise here.
Yeah,
East up in the 5th inning,
West
up in the 4th.
Of both of these games brought us a lot more excitement. Now we got a tie ball game on field 9 and a 2-run ball game, and Lincoln Way East trending.
Potential of a pitching change here for Troy as they've watched their lead now dissipate to 2 runs.
And Calvary Christian thought they had the force out there at second base for at least one more out, but the second baseman came off the base, so the runner's safe. Nobody out there again. So Lincoln Way West continues to roll here. They take the lead now in the top of the 4th, and looks like from how everybody's walking in that maybe Coach is coming out to.
May have a pitching change in both games. We'll see.
Actually, I think Coach just wanted everybody to recollect before he comes out because he already made a mound visit, so he'd have to pull him. So he'll stay in the game, but everybody now on the same page.
It is interesting, though. You think about at the collegiate level, how we had the conversation with the safety bag, and that resulting in a player that was ruled out because he thought just getting back after the slide back into first that you could stand on the safety base, and the umpire was like, "No, you have to be on the actual first base. You're out." That we have 2 alterations of things that have been the same for eons in both the location of the safety base and the makeup and shape of a bat, leading to some really interesting conversations at both the collegiate and MLB level. And we now have another RBI for Lincoln Way East, against Troy. That one's now 5-4, Troy leading in the top of the 5th.
Yeah, that was a good piece of hitting right there. He might have benefited from a torpedo bat, but that one got him off the hands and just kind of dropped it in. I guess maybe a torpedo bat, that's a fly out to right field. So good work there. I mean,
that was Hazlip. He's now 2 for 2.
I don't know if anybody's even capable of this. Maybe one of our partners here could help us out with this. Can they make a torpedo bat metal? Is that an option?
Well, I think basically softball bats are very similar in shape to that, right?
I thought softball bats were just flat. I don't think it goes out, or it doesn't go smaller at the end. Maybe there is some, but the ones I've seen, I don't think it's smaller. We got a grounder on the. Here we go. 1, 2. They get the second out. Double play gets them out of the inning, but down 6-5 now. Calvary Christian, tough showing there in the 4th, but we'll see if the offense can bounce back.
Yeah, so here's this Easton Torpedo softball bat.
Interesting.
Where it's got kind of the weird shape, and it gets a little bit smaller near the top of the bat, near the barrel.
That's odd.
Yeah.
Never seen that one before.
It's out of stock, by the way, if you try to get it off of Easton's website. I'm sure there's a lot more interest in those. East. Lincoln Way East coming through, man, and we've got a ball game on our hands now. Runner's taking off for third, and he will advance. Lincoln Way East is going to have him at the corners, and things getting interesting late there as that one's in the 5th inning.
So we talked about the Lincoln Way East teams maybe having an excuse of poor performance, but both of them getting themselves right back in their games. Lincoln Way East tied it up. We haven't had the update yet on the scoreboard, and Lincoln Way West taking the lead there.
Yeah, that was A.J. Lawrencell at the plate. Plays for Cangalosi Sparks, 2026. Exit velos around 89.5, and that last one off his bat at 89. So the prep baseball profile very much in line with what we're seeing with our eyes here as they are now tied up with Troy at 5-5. Yeah, this has gotten really good. Lincoln Way West now has a 6-5 lead over Calvary Christian, and we are all tied up between Lincoln Way East and Troy. I think the sun's even
yeah, the sun is kind of out. We definitely got some dark clouds from our view from the studio, but got a little bit of sun.
All right, so
things dried up pretty well too. A lot of pollen all over the place. The remnants of what was a horrible weekend. We talked about it on Saturday, the record-breaking total.
Yeah.
Sunday was 11,000, so still higher.
Wow.
So the second highest in Georgia history.
So right now at the plate for Lincoln Way East, we have Riff. Not sure that's a name that I had on my. I feel like that's got to be wrong. That's got to be wrong. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Evan Riff. Evan Riff. All right. When you try to keep four lineups,
yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, four lineups all in line, and you're trying to make sure you got a little bit of something on everybody. Evan Riff, by the way, Chicago elite player, preseason All-State underclass in 2025. The plate now to try to build on the momentum for Lincoln Way East. Primarily a shortstop, also a righty that gets on the mound and runs up to 85, and his team hoping he can come through at the plate right now, where he has exit velos around 92 miles an hour.
Yeah, Ben Joint on the mound for Lincoln Way West. He came in and got the last out in the third. Going to continue his work here in the fourth.
A.J. Lawrencell at second base for Lincoln Way East, and he gets a punch out. So Toby Seibert gets out of it, but we've got a tie ball game in that one as it's headed to the bottom of the fifth inning.
Even with that storm cloud, a great view.
Yeah.
Great view on Field 10 right now.
Yep, got the Champion Center and the Element Hotel in the background. One of the rare occasions where we don't see a bunch of traffic going into the Champion Center as we're here during a weekday.
Big swing and a miss right there for the first out. Ben Joint, first strikeout of the game.
Ben Joint, fastball, we've got him around 70, and it is clearly higher than that. Is that?
Yeah.
Able to get the punch out there. 6'4", 185-pound righty.
Somebody get the radar gun out for Ben, get him a new read.
See who Calvary Christian's going to send to the plate now. This is going to be, I believe, Jace Smith. Yep, Jace Smith now at the plate.
Yeah, 87.5 for Ben Joint, so safe to say he needs an update.
Love the mechanics.
Yeah.
Just really steady, smooth mover on the mound. I think it just stands out more so, too. You know, again, we see some great games during the weekend, but I think just the mechanics of these a little bit more mature high school players, and it certainly sticks out, especially when a guy is just rolling like Ben Joint is at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, when I was over there looking at this Troy team, they've got a couple guys that are just huge.
Yeah.
And I mean, Fry, who hit the home run, I mean, when he stepped into the box, I was like, this guy looks like he's been in college.
6'4", 200-pounder.
Yeah. He's a beast. I think they've got I think Lincoln Way East has two guys that are 6'5" on their roster.
Wow.
Danny Mackey that we already talked about, and then Jack Tamer as well is 6'5".
Andrew Westfall will lead things off for Troy as they try to respond after watching Lincoln Way East tie things up at 5-5. Westfall plays for Troy Legion Baseball. So was talking to Troy's head coach Ty Welker about this. So I played Acme baseball growing up. We did not have this form of travel baseball that's everywhere now. Acme ball and Legion ball were really the only things that we could do in that part of Ohio.
I know Legion ball. I've heard of that.
Yeah. So Acme ball was a big deal around there, and apparently they just put to bed their Troy Acme team in the last couple years. As you know, he said it's just a little bit harder to gain teams as all these guys during the summer are going off to these bigger travel events. So the travel baseball machine has claimed some of these smaller entities, but certainly it had its place in time.
Yeah, I think we've maybe develop past the times of those kind of smaller.
Well, I'll tell you, we've got Hayden Fry now at the plate, the Toledo signee, who's already hit a 3-run home run for Troy. 6'4", 200-pounder, as I mentioned. 10th-ranked left-handed pitcher in Ohio, and he is already shown out at the plate. Hopefully we get to see Hayden on the mound a little bit later. Got him inching towards 85 miles an hour with the fastball. He's got a 1-1 count here. Again, he's already hit a 3-run home run, and he's got a dribbler back up short. The second baseman has it, and he will throw it to first for the out. So Fry goes out on the ground out. When I played Acme Baseball in Bell Fountain, I played on a team that went 0-32 across the summertime.
Oh, I could beat that. 0-44 for me.
And it is it's hard to explain what it's like when you're playing for a team that is losing that amount of games during a summertime.
Yeah.
We had some decent players on our team. It was just like nothing ever went right.
Yep. I feel it. I think this team, and it wasn't even close. I think we had one close game, and it was the final game of the year. This was 12U, I think. Like All-Stars or whatever that came out of our rec league. But, yeah, we went 0-44. Shout out to Hank Aaron, but that was maybe the only silver line. I think we surrendered over 400 runs.
Wow.
Yeah, my brother started keeping track when it was getting into, like, embarrassing territory, which was at, like, 20 probably. Maybe less than that. But yeah, that's a tough summer to play through.
It sure is.
It definitely is.
Ben Joint got himself an inning-ending strikeout as Lincoln Way West has a 6-5 lead over Calvary Christian as that one is marching along.
Ooh.
Yeah, strikeout ends the inning. Some fired up Lincoln Way East players as Tyler Omansky makes his way off the mound. A 5-5 ball game there.
Yeah, it was a nice changeup to get that strikeout.
A little bit later in these ones, as a reminder, we will have our Battle for Bartow watch party for you on Thursday, and then Houston County and Etowah going at it Friday at noon. So if you can't catch the game live, we'll have you covered on Facebook, X, and YouTube, so you'll definitely want to join us for that one. Should be a whole lot of fun, and it just I don't know, we're going to have a better, as I mentioned earlier, matchup at any tournament.
Yeah.
Any event that we have may not be as good as we're going to see in that game on Friday at noon.
Yeah, I mean, as it's tracking right now, those are two teams you're going to expect to see make deep playoff runs in the state playoffs. And I think with this, rearranging of the classifications and getting rid of 7A, the 6A and 5A and 4A, particularly, those playoffs are just going to be so much even more electric. It's just top loaded with incredible talent.
There is an absolute monster coming to play for Lincoln Way West right now, and that's going to be Anthony Vita, 6 foot, 215-pounder. By the way, a little game I like to play is I love to look at rosters and think if one of these names was an action hero, how good would the movie trailer be with that guy's name on it? So you always think about the movie, late 90s announcer, and he'd be like, in a world.
Yep.
And so right now, Calvary Christian has sent to the mound Fitz Stone.
That sounds really good.
So Fitz Stone.
Yeah, that's a strong name.
Yeah, so he's
that's the kind of name that's like playing quarterback at like an FCS school or Group of 5 school.
Yeah, or
Fitz
it's like
Stone.
if you were making a movie about a college football program, Fitz Stone would be the guy who would be your quarterback. And
tough foul ball right there. Hits off the catcher. He's just going to need a minute.
Yeah, he's going to go out, and Blue's going to go out and have a word with Fitz Stone. 5'10", 160-pounder, plays for Team Elite. That's
surprised
a really tough moment.
Okay, I was about to say, is Coach going to go and maybe take a look at him? He's down there for a second.
Yeah.
Looks like he got it fouled off the leg. Just going to stretch things out.
Yeah, tough moment here in the Calvary Christian Lincoln Way West game. We'll see if able to work things out of that knee. Yeah, that's Coach Steve Smith out there for Calvary Christian. Really, as I mentioned, a guy who has run a really strong program. As the Shaq quote said, I was not familiar with your game. It certainly was not familiar with Calvary Christian Knights' game, but a team that I mentioned 4 straight GAPPS state championships here in the Peach State, 2022, 2022, 21, 22, 3, and 4.
I wonder if they've got any seniors that are going for the 4-peat.
I mean, they've got a number of 2025s on their team, so yeah, I mean, they've got a number of guys who have done nothing.
But I'm wondering if maybe they were varsity from freshman to senior year.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
That have been a part of every one of those squads.
That would be
amazing.
That's quite the run, right? I mean, quite the standard, too. I mean, if you're one of those seniors and a freshman steps in, it's like, no, we literally just win state championships here, so get on board.
Yeah.
All right, AB continues as the catcher resumes his position. Fitzstone with the breaking ball. Fitzstone with the breaking ball.
It's a good name.
It's a great name. That might, we talked about having an all names list by the end of the summertime here. I think that is going to be we're going to have to keep that one around. 2-2 count as we continue for Troy with Toby Seibert on the mound. Miss Hagen run that count full.
Got a good name on Troy as well. Liam Evil Sizer.
That's a pretty good one.
And it's evil like E-V-I-L.
Well, that would be the villain in that movie, right? I mean, it would be Fitzstone has got to stop Liam Evil Sizer from trying to take over the world. He's got he's going to try to steal the moon, or what was that? Was from
that's Despicable Me.
Yeah. Liam Evil Sizer. Yep. Yeah, 5'9", 150-pound second baseman. Seibert going against Huddick. Huddick 91-7 off the bat, and that one is over top the second baseman's head and going to be in for a base hit. So Lincoln Way East back in business again here in the 6th inning. That one's all notched up at 5-5. Lincoln Way West leads 6-5 in the 5th, and they'll have a base runner. That long AB is now over. Let's see who's going to now be at the plate for Lincoln Way West. Anthony Vita now standing at first base, and he's going to get a courtesy runner. Let's see, Lincoln Way West now.
Globkey, I believe.
It's an 18, right?
I think so.
I think that's Carson Paulus. Let's see what the scoreboard says. No, it says number 22, but I believe that's an 8. I believe that's an 18. Oh, it might have a pinch.
Yeah, we might have.
Yeah, he just showed bunt and pulled back, and it hit him.
Wow.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
It doesn't happen
somehow
often.
It went through the window and hit him.
Wow.
Yeah, tough one there.
Yeah, it's just that's a tough break for the pitcher. It's hard to call because you're kind of putting yourself in the way of the pitch, so you're kind of leaning in, but I guess when you pull back, it's hard to argue.
All right, well, Caden Kopax is going to get a turn now with runners at first and second off the hit by pitch. Lincoln Way West has a 6-5 lead. They trailed 5-0 in that one.
Yeah, and Lincoln Way West, they put up all 6 of those in the 4th inning. Now they've got a chance. I mean, if they keep rolling like they are, you might see this lineup turn over again, and then you bring up Acevedo and Essenberg and Pettit, who have just been rolling in this game.
Ryan Pearson at the plate right now for Lincoln Way East. Had a player, Graham Johnson, by the way. He plays for the Frankfurt Square Raptors. So I was trying to figure out if it was Frankfurt Square or,
I would assume,
or the Raptors Square. Are they Square Raptors?
I would assume it's Frankfurt Square.
So the Frankfurt is Square, not the Raptors.
Got it. Yeah.
That would be
a square raptor doesn't make a lot of sense. We've seen like a circular one, the old Raptors mascot.
That's true.
It was the big round one.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've seen any square ones.
I think they have those in Minecraft.
Maybe. That one's popped up to
Kopax sends that into center field. Oh, is he? That one's going to be down.
No.
I think long run, unable to make the catch, kind of bounces away. So they're going to have runners at first and second.
I think they maybe thought that was going to hang up in the air a little bit longer. It just didn't quite hang up long enough for him to get there, and he tried the diving attempt, but to no avail.
All right, so with Kopax on, Lincoln Way East. Let's see where they're going to be up next for them.
I think you got your Lincoln Ways mixed up. Kopax is for West.
See, this is going to keep happening, right? It's like with the fact that we just have Lincoln on the scoreboard just keeps screwing me up. And I think I've given Caden Kopac's love multiple times because that was Casey Mickrut.
Somebody just got hit by pitch, I think, or walked. I don't know what just happened, but it looks like the ball just got thrown over the head of the third baseman, and now a run is scored.
All right, Lincoln Way West now got a 7-5 lead over Calvary Christian. Wheels kind of falling off.
I don't know what just happened there.
Yeah, unfortunately, our cameras didn't cut over, so we missed that one. Bunt down in Lincoln Way East. Pitcher has it, throws to first in time for the out. Runners advance.
I'm super confused because now the batter's coming back. They're saying it didn't hit him.
Cooper Johnson now at the plate for Lincoln Way East.
I'm going to be honest, I don't know what happened.
All right, well.
It looked like he got hit by pitch, which means that the runner couldn't have advanced.
Yep.
Because time would have been called.
Exactly.
But
do we just have a bunt, a balk in the Lincoln Way East game, or was that I looked over the Lincoln Way West one for a second, and
I'm not sure.
Because Welker's on his way out there to the mound. Let's say they're going to have a pitching change for Troy. All right, we'll see who's taking over for them. Meanwhile, Fitzstone still on the mound for Calvary Christian. Lincoln Way West with a 7-5 lead in the fifth, one out. West has Owen Weber at the plate right now, 5'11", 160-pound righty, 2026 primary catcher. And the new pitcher for Troy is Aiden Gorman. Gorman up to 82.3 with the fastball. Plays for Next Level Ohio, 25th ranked outfielder in Ohio, 131 overall in the class of 2026. Just threw that one at 82.6. Nice breaking ball from Gorman. 0-2 count.
I believe that's Owen Weber at the plate right now in the 0-2 count.
Yes.
Takes a ball right there. Got the runner on second. That runner from third already scored. So I think I'm piecing the things that happened back together. And I think what happened is that because who was it, Kopac's?
Yes.
It was at the plate. Kopac's thought he got hit, didn't. And because it wasn't called that he got hit, but he walked down, it was just a ball where he just walked down. And then they throw down to third and overthrow it, and then he runs in to score. So it still counts.
Okay. It's Carson Paulus standing at second base for West. All right, now Gorman's now going to get his chances. He's going to be facing off against Cooper Johnson. Johnson, first pitch, sends that back foul. Getting towards dinner time here in Emerson, Georgia. A lot of people watching it on Illinois are going to be an hour behind us, but we're getting hungry, man. We thought we were going to be off the air a while ago. Rips that one, 91.8 off his bat. That one is down into the left field corner. Here comes one run for Lincoln Way East. Here comes a second. Scoots into second base, and we got a 2-run double and a double Selly celebration.
So I guess if you're out there and planning on watching Lincoln Way West versus Lincoln Way East when these two teams get back home, expect some big late runs in their games and some big offensive innings, because that's 5 runs in the fifth and now 2 in the top of the sixth, and still just 1 out for them.
Yeah, Cooper Johnson comes through big time with the 2-run double, and Charlie Kosic now at the plate. Charlie first pitch swinging, now on 84-2 out of the hands of Gorman. Kosic, Chicago Elite. There's a ton of these guys on both Lincoln Way teams that play for Chicago Elite. There's also a Lincoln Way Central. So East, West, and Central.
Kind of similar to how we have all the Forsyth teams. except Forsyth Central does keep it special and switch the order. But we do have North, West, South, and then Forsyth Central.
Number 1 for both Lincoln Way teams are currently at the plate. So West, meanwhile, has Lucas Acevedo, the Illinois-Chicago Flames signee. 10th ranked shortstop in Illinois. 56th overall in the class of 25. Guy runs a 6.8860, along with exit velos around 90 miles an hour and a bat speed north of 70.
Certainly looking for a hit right now.
Oop. And he gets hit. So not the hit he wanted, but he will indeed make his way down to first base as he tosses the elbow guard aside.
Yeah. I think Connor Essenberg's like, why are you throwing all this at me?
Yeah.
It all landed right at his feet.
Well, we have seen Connor Essenberg do nothing but rake so far today, so he is absolutely ready for this moment.
Yeah, big big RBI double in that second at bat he had. He went down on strikes first time around, but certainly doing his thing here.
3 runs driven in today. Opportunity to do more damage with this team up 2 runs. Wild pitch, and Lincoln Way East is going to add another run.
We'll get
wild pitch from the West, too. Each runner will advance, and Essenberg's job becomes that much easier.
If Essenberg does reach safely, then that'll bring up Michael Pettit, who's 2 for 3 with an RBI double in that second at bat that he had.
And these games were flying by, and they have absolutely stalled out time-wise here. This is one of those times where it kind of makes you wish it was like travel baseball when we have like an hour 45 cap, because these games just keep moving along.
Well, you can thank the 2 Lincoln Way teams for...
Nice double play turned by Troyes, are able to bring it into the inning, but Lincoln Way East has taken an 8-5 lead in that one. Man, we've seen some fantastic defensive work in that Lincoln Way East Troy game. Can't say enough about the glove work on that one. Meanwhile, Lincoln Way West leaves 7-5 with Connor Essenberg at the plate, the Kentucky signee, Super 60 participant. Rips that one 95-5 foul.
I mean, and he was late.
Yeah, you're late, and you just kind of flick the bat head out there and get 95-5.
That's impressive. Now just imagine if you put it in play.
Yeah.
What kind of numbers are we reading there?
Well, he tops out. I have seen him up to 105 on the exit velo. 105.1, bat speed of 80.3.
Yeah, I mean, that's a real two-way prospect right there.
Yeah, and you talk about that matched with a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. Yeah, 2021 junior feature gamer. And I think coach has seen enough after a guy hits a foul ball 95-5.
Yeah, that's tough for Essenberg to get the pitching change on a 1-2 count with 2 outs.
Yep.
Really tough.
All right, well, he's going to have a little bit of time to regroup and get a scout on this new Calvary Christian arm. We'll tell you who that is going to be momentarily. Well, Lincoln Way East brings back Tyler Omansky on the mound. We saw some emotion from him after an inning-ending strikeout.
Yeah, I like the stuff we saw from him last inning. Just going to have to keep warding off this offense from Troy that is kind of all of a sudden really slowed down. They were rolling early in this game, and then Lincoln Way East comes in the last 2 innings with 8 runs combined and take that 8-5 lead.
Yeah, Troy 5 runs on 4 hits, so 2 of their 4 hits have been home runs, and that has resulted in all 5 of their runs. Meanwhile, Lincoln Way East has 8 runs on 12 hits. Swings through that for strike 1. Troy has Carson Riddle at the plate right now. Riddle, Bluffton signee.
So what I can see, I can't quite see a number, but I know our pitcher has extremely long hair. I can see that for whoever that may be that is coming in for Calvary Christian. Maybe 35. Braylon Frierson, I believe.
So Riddle ends up with the first out. Do you know what Bluffton University's mascot is?
No.
All right, the Bluffton Beavers.
Okay. I feel like the lower divisions, I think you just have to go for like alliteration.
Yeah. 92 off the bat. That one is going to be trouble.
I got caught.
Yeah, it did get caught. Looked like it was headed into the gap, but able to catch that into left center, and that'll be 2 outs now. It's going to bring up Logan Akers, 2027 catcher. Try to get something rolling for Troy. They have been held scoreless since the 3rd inning when they led 5-0, and they watched Lincoln Way East score 5 runs in the 5th and 3 more in the 6th to take an 8-5 lead. Yeah, that is some serious hair in the Lincoln Way West game. That's Braylon Frierson that takes over. Braylon playing in his 4th prep baseball event. We had him here last summer for the 15U National Championship. Plays for SBG Sox. Oh, gets Essenberg to make the weak contact right in front of the catcher. Throws to first in time for the out.
Yep.
But a run is still going to score. No, that was the 3rd out, wasn't it? I thought that was the 2nd showing on the scoreboard. Man, what a great job by Frierson. You get an aggressive hitter in Essenberg at the plate, and you get him to just basically hit a ball that dies in front of the plate. You're able to get out of that one and keep the deficit at 2 runs.
Yeah, you've kind of lucked out with Essenberg being in such a compromised position with the pitching change on a 1-2 count. So you step in, new pitcher, you maybe only have one chance to see him and generate the weak contact and get things done.
So Lincoln Way West will again send Ben Joint out to the mound. – 7-5 lead for West over Calvary Christian. Lincoln Way East lead Troy 8-5. Both Lincoln Way teams in comeback fashion today to get these advantages. Yeah, so April 11th is the first time the East and West will play each other. And then they'll play each other again on the 14th. So within a 3-day time period, they will have played each other twice.
And then they play?
Then they play Homewood Flossmoor, who we're actually going to have here as well. Dimitri Heidelberg, one of my absolute favorite names, Eastern Michigan signee, going to be here for Homewood Flossmoor. Really enjoyed talking with Dimitri when they were here last year for the spring break experience. All right, coming to the plate for Calvary Christian is going to be Tripp Ellison. Ellison will be followed by Cam Houston. Ellison plays for Game On Nights during the travel season. Houston, as I mentioned, in the on-deck circle, leads the Knights with a .426 average.
Definitely looking for him to get on base here. Calvary Christian hasn't scored since the 3rd inning, which is not too big of a break, but you had one run scored in the 1st, 2 in the 2nd, 2 in the 3rd, and then right after that you surrender the lead, and now Lincoln Way West has extended that lead 2 runs since the last time he scored.
I've liked what we've seen from Aiden Gorman. He will be back on the mound for Troy.
Just got some breaking news in Major League Baseball. Jurickson Profar just got popped 80-game suspension for PEDs.
Wow.
So that's fantastic as a Braves fan. It's great to hear.
You know, if anyone was worried when he had the injury during spring training and wondered, well, what are we going to do without Jurickson Profar? Now you get another dose of it.
Yeah.
And a real one.
No pun intended.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Saws him off. That one popped out. That will be out number 1 in Lincoln Way East and Troy. So what do the Braves do then? Obviously,
We actually just traded for an outfielder today, so that's probably why.
And they also have Alex Verdugo as well.
Yeah, I think he's around. We just traded somebody from the Reds.
Well, big news for the Atlanta Braves. Jurickson Profar signed him to a 3-year deal, I believe it was.
Yes. Yep. Stuart Fairchild is who we just traded for from the Reds.
Cam Houston, 95.9 off his bat, and he is going to make his way into second base. He's going to hold there. Nope. Cam Houston booking his way all the way to third. The throw is going to be late. And Cam Houston, man, talked about the batting average for a guy hitting over 400, and he comes through for Calvary Christian in a big way and gives them a much-needed triple with one out here in the 5th.
It looked like the third base coach had the stop sign up, but he did not care. He knew himself better than anybody.
Yep.
And,
I talked about Bryson Brooks earlier, a guy that already has gone deep 3 times, 4 doubles, hitting 372, 14 RBI. He's at the plate right now for Calvary Christian.
Things are setting up very well right now for them to try and fight into this lead that Lincoln Way West has gotten.
Well, the 5'10", 180-pounder now at the plate, left fielder and catcher. Yeah, that's a tough break for the Braves.
Yeah.
I mean, you're already down Acuna, at least for the first few weeks of the season until he's able to make his way back. And you don't want to get any more aggressive with a guy that's had injury issues the past few years. Definitely a tough break for the hometown team here in Atlanta.
Okay, conspiracy theory. We just played the Padres. Fernando Tatis has been suspended for PEDs before. Were the two of them conspiring?
Well, they were teammates together in San Diego. Ground out by Brooks, but it gets a run on the board. Make it 7-6 as Cam Houston crosses the plate.
That's a big moment right there for
I hope nobody bought a Jurickson Profar jersey.
I'm sure a lot of people did.
Nice job defensively by Troy as they make a quick work of Lincoln Way East in that one. That's going to be their final opportunity as that one is, I believe, headed on to the bottom of the 7th.
Yeah, heading into the bottom of the 7th, so Troy's going to get their last shot.
Meanwhile, Lincoln Way West with a 7-6 lead over Calvary Christian as they got the ground out from Bentley that resulted in Cam Houston scoring. GM Alex Anthopoulos has made a lot of great maneuvers, but the Kellenic trade, I think, has been something that was probably ill-advised.
Yeah.
Trading, William Contreras for Sean Murphy and then locking him up at this point was not a great move.
Nope.
And now you add in this Profar deal.
Yeah, I would probably go as far as to say that Alex Anthopoulos hasn't made a very beneficial trade to the Braves since Matt Olson. And that one, I mean, Matt Olson his entire career has been every other year a good player, but you got one great season so far out of Matt, and that's it in 3 years.
Well, I mean, look, I don't think it's a hot take to say the Braves would be in a better place if Freddie Freeman was still playing first base for them.
Oh, definitely. But the ownership and the way that the ownership has changed as well, I think is even less of a priority to sign free agents. And it's just, I mean, that's why Alex Anthopoulos is constantly scrambling at the deadline to make things happen. And every now and then he, has a gem of a trade deadline like he did in 2021. You win a World Series, but for every one of those, there's like 5 years where you're just scrambling for nothing because you aren't spending the money in free agency when it matters.
So we just had an errant throw in the Lincoln Way West Calvary Christian game that resulted in the runner advancing to second base. So the tying run now in scoring position for Calvary Christian, and they've got Jackson Kennedy at the plate with 2 down in the 5th. Meanwhile, Lincoln Way East has Tyler Romansky back on the mound. Troy trying to fight their way back in this one. Like they are going to roll with, let's see who's at the plate for them right now. That's going to be
that one's
Devin Baroker.
Smoke down the line.
Yeah, Devin Baroker sends that foul. He's got a 1-2 count. Baroker's 0 for 2 today. He's got a strikeout. He will be followed by Reinhardt. Jake Reinhardt. Just misses. They thought they were ready to go around the horn, and that'll instead be ball 2.
Got a 1-1 count with 2 outs for Brooks.
All right, Calvary Christian putting up a fight here in the 5th inning. Again, they got the tying run in scoring position, 2 down in the inning, 1-1 count. Borderline pitch misses. Another foul ball in the Troy game. It's getting real in both these games.
Yeah. We could definitely see something serious happen here for Calvary Christian. If
Full
they're
count
able
to Troy. Baroker shoots that one into right field. Is that going to fall down for a base hit? Got him on the run. Baroker's going to make his way into second base, and he's going to hold there with a leadoff double.
Fired up.
Yeah, got the double celly rolling. So Baroker now to Reinhardt. Big moment here for Troy. They have been waiting to get something going offensively, and here comes their opportunity here in the bottom of the 7th inning.
There's strike 2. I think the catcher thought it was strike 3. I'm not sure what happened.
So we've seen both Lincoln Way catchers ready to go around the horn.
Yeah, but that one was not even a missed call. That was just strike 2. Maybe we just need to wait and see what happens on strike 3. He got that excited. Let's see what we get here on 2-2.
Yeah, Reinhardt at the plate, and then it's back to the top of the order with Gorman.
Brooks fouls that one off, stays alive. I believe that's Brooks. Yeah. No, sorry, that's, I believe, Jackson Kennedy, number 2.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, so we got Jake Reinhardt up for Troy, Jackson Kennedy up for Calvary Christian. Mansky on the mound for Lincoln Way East. Let's see whether that continues or if they're going to make a pitching change here in the bottom of the 7th inning. They have 2 games tomorrow, so would not be surprised if they let them roll and not use another arm that they potentially might need tomorrow. Two count to Jackson Kennedy, runner at second base. 7-6 game.
Ooh.
Oh, he gets hit by the pitch. Calvary Christian will have runners at first and second now. That's going to bring up Osborne. So Nate Osborne, another quarterback, stepping to the plate. No, a moment's not too big for a QB.
It's true.
Going to have a conversation here. See if Lincoln Way West can slam the door. Joint has looked really good. I mean, he's allowed 2 hits, 1 run that was earned, 3 strikeouts. Followed Girl, who had 3 Ks of his own. All right, so Amansky back to work. 0-2 count.
Did he go? No, I think they'll say he pulled it back. Oh, he did say he went, and he got the tag for the drop third, so that's 1 strikeout here in this inning for Omansky to bounce back.
All right, so Reinhardt goes down on strikes off the check swing.
It's a real late appeal call. I was expecting a quicker call for it, but you get the strikeout nonetheless.
Ball in play by Calvary Christian. Shortstop has it, throws to first in time. They get out of it.
It's a beautiful play.
7-6 game as that one's going to roll on. Calvary Christian strands a runner. Lincoln Way West leads 7-6. Meanwhile, Aiden Gorman at the plate for Troy. Rips that one foul.
Just 2 more outs for Troy in this game. They have a 3-run hill to climb.
Gorman came in relief and has looked pretty good on the mound, but he is primarily outfielder where he has exit velos north of 82 miles an hour, bat speed up around 66. 25th ranked outfielder in Ohio in the class of 26. Three-1 count to Gorman. Gets the strike. Of course, after Gorman, we'll see, I believe Akins is coming in the pinch hitter, so Frey, who has already hit a 3-run bomb, is looming in that one. Gorman hits that one off. Yeah, does it go opposite field? Does he drop it in?
It's fair.
Yeah, it's fair. Here comes a run for Troy. Gorman's going to make his way into second. He's got an RBI double, and we've got an 8-6 game.
Big run that Troy's on right now. Keep things rolling. Now just 2 runs.
Colton Akins now at the plate. 21st ranked catcher in Ohio in 26, 191 overall. And that means you've got Hayden Fry in the on-deck circle.
Now for Lincoln Way West, top of the 6th, you're looking to continue the run-scoring trend and try and fight back for the lead that you gain yourselves.
Going out to have a conversation with Braylon Frierson.
Got Michael Pettit leading off the top of the 6th.
She went extra bases with Pettit. I can't wait to see that one, the Notre Dame commit.
Yeah, part of that 2024 Illinois Future Games team that is just star-studded. I mean, our interview that we ran today with R.J. Duncan, he was on that same Future Games team as well. He skies that one up there.
Yeah, 80.9 off his bat. Left fielder and third baseman converge, and the left fielder will haul that one in for the out. 0-2 count, meanwhile, to Colton Akins. Troy trying to fight their way back in the bottom of the 7th inning. Oh, man, that was just vicious.
Yeah.
An absolutely nasty breaking ball out of the hands of Tyler Omansky. Gets the strikeout for the second out, and that leaves Troy down to their last out, but the right guy at the right time with the runner on, and that's Toledo signee Hayden Fry.
That one's put on the ground real hard right there from Lincoln Way West. They do get the out, though, at first. Calvary Christian making some quick work right now in the top of the 6th.
Runner taken off with no one was covering the bag, and he is going to hold it third.
Troy's making things interesting here with 2 outs.
Great base running. They got a 2-run deficit. We'll see what Hayden Fry can do. Swing and a miss. Goes back to that breaking ball.
Omansky trying to keep his side alive here and get the win.
Fry, the 10th-ranked left-handed pitcher in Ohio, holds off and runs the count to 2-1. Trying to extend this inning for Troy, if not tie this thing up, if Fry can put another charge into one. Swing and a miss.
Troy down to their last strike.
Yep.
Who else but the guy who hit the 3-run home run to get their first runs on the board.
Comes to 2-2 to Fry. Swings through it, tags him, and that will bring an end to this one. Lincoln Way East rebounds from a 5-0 deficit. Gets an 8-6 win over Troy. And, man, what a performance from Lincoln Way East, fighting their way back in that one. And they got a couple of RBI from Cooper Johnson, and he was the one who delivered the big blow for them. Man, what a way to fight back, a team that ends up getting 8 runs on 12 hits and got themselves a win in comeback fashion here to start off spring break experience.
Yeah, that's quite the game there. On Field 10, we've got a great game going on Field 9 that we'll watch wrap up as well. Top of the 6th, Calvary Christian doing some good work here. Got a full count with 2 outs now.
All right, so with that game complete, we will zero in on Lincoln Way West and Calvary Christian. Always kind of takes you a second there to get used to.
Yeah, you got to get back. You got to remember where you're supposed to be looking.
Yep. All right, so Braylon Frierson at the plate, got a gust of wind that's going to nearly close our door here. Dribbler down the side, throw to first, and that will bring an end to the inning. We're headed on to the bottom of the 6th. Lincoln Way West with a 7-6 lead over Calvary Christian for the first time in a while. We are going to take a quick break here in our studio. We'll be right back from LakePoint Sports.
We're here at LakePoint Sports, the site of the first Curve Test Center. There will be lots of Curve Test Centers, but this will always be the first. And why are we here? Here for a couple of reasons. One is about the effort players are spending trying to get coaches to notice them, the effort coaches are spending trying to figure out who's actually any good, the poor parents who are sitting there saying, where's my kid headed? This is the answer for all that.
Everyone wants to be seen, right? Sometimes what can be seen is data. So it's hard to get in front of coaches at all these programs at once, or even the school you really want to go to. So using data helps us a ton. And as long as it's reliable and there's something that can give us better information with the small sample size is what we're looking for.
Curve Test Centers is redefining player and performance data when it comes to evaluation, recruiting. Test your athletic, cognitive, and baseball skills with TrackMe and Proteus and more. Visit at the Bubble or sign up now at curvetestcenter.com. Don't miss this chance to level up your game. We are back at it here between Lincoln Way West and Calvary Christian, where Lincoln Way West has a 7-6 lead here in the bottom of the 6th inning. We've seen Ben Joint has looked really good in this game, and he is back on the mound for Lincoln Way West. 3 strikeouts so far from him in 2 1/3 inning.
It's had a really interesting moment between the batter and the pitcher there. The batter was ready to go, and the umpire had not called in play just yet. Seems like there's still some kind of disagreement with time being called or not between the batter and the umpire and the pitcher. Still going on right now. But the pitcher was ready to go. The batter wasn't. Oh, man. I mean, I think we're all at a standstill here.
This is a new batter for Calvary Christian, by the way. This is Liam Hokett, 2026, who's coming in. 7th prep baseball event for him, coming in as a pinch hitter here in the 6th inning. I'm not quite sure what in the world is going on here. But
yeah,
go over and have
there's
a
some kind of disagreement between the pitcher and batter, maybe on time being called. And the umpire's just doing his job, calling time, and then bringing the game back in play. I'm not really sure what's going on here. But coach is going out there and have his meeting to start off the inning.
Calvary Christian led 3-0. Then we saw Lincoln Way West score 3 runs in the 3rd. Calvary Christian responded with 2 in the bottom of the 3rd, but Lincoln Way West has then scored 3 in the 4th, added 1 more in the 5th. Calvary Christian got 1 back in the 5th inning. See if they can continue to build on that. Got this down to 1 run here with 2 more ABs left. They are the home team. Liam Hokett, 6'5", 220-pound righty. Finally steps in. All right, here we go. The deliberation is over. Gets a strike in the outside corner. Was it 2-1? Oh, nearly got him to bite on the breaking ball. Ben Joint. 6'4", 185-pound righty has been very strong for Lincoln Way West. But, man, a rocket off the bat, 95.1 as he jumps all over that pitch but sends it foul. Gonna run the count full.
Definitely wish you had that one back. I mean,
hardest hit ball we've seen today. It's pretty close.
It's up there for sure. I feel like we might have seen 96.
Yeah, I'm sure if we go back to the Essenberg ABs,
okay, we're back to calling time now. There's no disengagement rules here, so you can technically do that as much as the umpire would like to give it to him.
Oh, and he gets hit by a pitch.
All right.
A little stare down towards Joint as he's going to make his way down to first base.
I'm not sure what happened here between those two, maybe between the inning, but it seemed like a a constant face-off between the two of them that whole at bat, and now Joint's coming out of the game.
Jay Smith will be the next batter for Calvary Christian. That's going to be it for Joint. He was going to step in here for Lincoln Way West. We're going to take another quick break. We'll tell you all about the new pitcher for the West Warriors when we come back from LakePoint Sports.
Next. Next. Stop.
You got it?
No. Keep going.
Again.
Next. Next.
If you don't pick one.
Oh, you have time. Am I keeping you from your job? Next. I don't even know where I am anymore. Stop.
Do we finally have it?
Let's go back to the beginning.
Are you
Your
joking?
electric future customized. The fully electric Audi Q4 e-tron.
Making every second count. That is how I live. And this is how I hydrate. Body Armor Sport Water. Water for the athlete and all of us.
This is ready to go online. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. How about the best network imaginable? Let's invent that.
That's what we do here.
Quick survey. Who wants their internet to work pretty much everywhere? And it needs to run smooth, like super smooth.
Hey, should you be drinking that?
It's decaf. Because we're busy women. We don't have time for lag or buffering. Who doesn't want internet that helps AI do your homework even faster?
Come again?
Sorry, what was that?
Introducing the next generation 10G network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now.
And now on the mound for Lincoln Way West, we're going to see Tyler Bartley. Tyler Bartley, 6 foot, 197-pound righty, also plays third base. Rock Valley Junior College signee. We have got to find out what the Rocky Valley Junior College mascot is.
Is it Rocky or Rock?
Rocky Valley.
Rocky Valley.
Who can find it faster? The Rocky Valley Junior College.
Golden Eagles.
Oh, that's all right. I wanted it to be something wilder than that. All right, well, Tyler Bartley has a fastball up around 87.4 with 2,500 spin. Also works a changeup 75 to 77, a curveball around 70 to 72, and a slider 78 to 79. He's got Jace Smith now stepping in for Calvary Christian. Runner at first base, and you can see the Lincoln Way East players starting to gather to watch their rivals. Smith shows bunt, pulls back.
Probably rooting heavily for Calvary Christian, if I had to guess.
Well, Jack Bauer said they actually root for them when they're not playing each other because it looks better for them to beat them when they're performing well. So very much in the vein of Ohio State and Michigan, right?
Yeah.
Like you want Michigan to be performing well, so then when you beat them, which unfortunately Ohio State has.
It was actually the opposite. Michigan played bad, and then you guys lost to them this year.
Yeah, that's true. All right, see Jack Bauer back there. Again, if you missed it, Bauer was with me for the first few innings. I was in studio for about 45 minutes with me or so to start this thing off, so we will clip that off and share that a little bit later on. But some fantastic stuff from the Virginia signee.
Oh, just missed.
Yeah, counts now 3-0 here to Smith. Let's see, after Smith, we're going to see my guy Fitzstone. Wow, man, that one just misses. So Calvary Christian will now have runners at first and second with nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
You can tell Bartley wasn't necessarily happy with that one. And
no.
Coach is going to come give some insight to his hitter.
All right.
Maybe just watch everything.
Yeah, little words of encouragement to Fitzstone. Starting to look like future games back there with the amount of people back behind home plate. Bartley glances back. Stone shows bunt.
Ooh.
Yeah, gets it down, but it goes foul.
That's a dangerous bunt to be trying to throw down. Looks like maybe some of the guys behind the plate are potentially watching the broadcast. They keep putting their hand up and then looking back at the phone.
All right, well, let's
maybe
see.
how live
Maybe they can dance. Let's see if they can. Yeah, let's see. Let's see.
Guys, do something so that we know that you're watching.
If you're paying attention, start dancing. Don't distract the pitcher, but give us something good. Shows bunt again. 0-2 now. Again, runners at first and second. Nobody out here in the bottom of the sixth inning. Calvary Christian trying to fight their way back into this one. I've seen no dancing so far, so yep. Either that or nobody's got it in them. All right, 0-2 count here to Stone. Maybe they just don't have the volume on.
Could be.
Yeah. All right. He shows bunt again, so that's going to be an out.
I always
tricky
question
maneuver.
that approach.
Yeah, tricky move. I get it. You're trying to advance the tying run, but bunting with 2 strikes not always the most opportune maneuver, and that will be out number 1 for Calvary Christian. So now it's back to the top of the order for the Knights, and they will send up Trip Ellison, the leadoff hitter. Ellison, 5'11", 155-pounder, again plays for Game On Knights 2026.
1 for 3 in this game. Struck out once, scored a run at one time that he got on base.
I've never seen an exit velo like that before. I got to see what this is.
Yeah.
34-mile-an-hour bunt, and he gets it down, and he will advance both runners. Hold it at third.
Ooh.
Oh, man, he gets back just in time.
Yeah, we typically try not to note the exit velo, but when you see a 34 pop up before the outcome showed up for us.
To take everybody inside how the sausage is made here at LakePoint Sports, these are AI cameras, so they are about 10 seconds behind reality. So we oftentimes see the pitch speed or exit velo before it happens on screen. It's just an unfortunate byproduct of us having a live scoreboard operator up in the scout tower and us watching off of an AI camera that's 10 seconds behind. Swing and a miss for the strike.
Yeah, so for the sake of immersion, don't look at the pitch speed or exit velo numbers until you see something happen.
We could turn it off, but then we would lose the ability to show you what the score is. So Cam Houston in his 426 average, which I imagine is tricking up a little bit higher than that. He's 2 for 3 today. He's got himself a triple. Cam Houston rips that one down the right side, 95-5 off his bat. Man, that would have been extra bases and a whole bunch of trouble for Lincoln Way West, but instead Cam Houston's going to step back into the box.
That's our third 95-plus exit velo foul ball just from this field.
Yeah, it's been a day.
See if we can put one in play this time around and maybe give Calvary Christian a tie ball game here. Bottom of the 6th, 2 outs. Got 2 strikes on him now.
Really have enjoyed the number 2 hitter for Calvary Christian today. Houston living up to that 427 average he stepped into today with. He's got an 0-2 count.
Good take right there.
Just misses on the outside corner.
Stone cold take.
Borderline pitch. Great job behind the plate. All right. 1-2 now.
See what Bartley's got for him.
Tying run at third base. Defensive swing sends that foul. Surprised he laid off the pitch before that he laid off of that one.
I think that one, he was maybe looking for the fastball again. What do we got?
I think just get some baseballs. Avery Hunt will enjoy seeing that baseballs are making their way back onto the field of play and not winding up in a coach's bucket.
Yeah, that's always a constant struggle here.
What if they set somebody up at the gate just to check everybody's bucket on the way out to see if they had any errant baseballs that didn't belong to them?
Somebody would be
doing
doing
not
some
like that.
Tiring work at the gate, and there'd be a long line leaving.
It'd save a lot of money, though. All right, 1-2 count here to Houston. Rips that off the pitcher. Bartley throws it to first base and brings it into the inning. And, man, 93.4 off of Cam Houston's bat. Man, that plunked Bartley, and wait for him to stick it out. Bad break for Houston and for Calvary Christian, but what a fantastic play on the mound by Bartley.
That was unbelievable.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Well, brings it into the inning. Lincoln Way West continues to lead 7-6, and we will be back with more from LakePoint Sports.
Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
We are marching on here in the spring break watch party, spring break experience watch party, to be more precise. We're down to the top of the 7th inning, Lincoln Way West, with a 7-6 lead over Calvary Christian. Cory, McCartney, Grayson, Rosen with you. And we will see Lincoln Way West send Anthony Vita to start things off here in the 7th inning. Once again, pitching for Calvary Christian is Braylon Frierson. There's the throw down, and we'll get another look at Vita. It's the 6-foot, 215-pound righty. Bats right, throws left. I think 215 is putting it lightly. I think he's got to be 225, 230.
Maybe. I think this camera's a little skewed. Maybe it's a little...
Do you think it's widening people?
Yeah, I think
so.
it
They
is.
say the camera adds, what, 10 pounds, right?
I think so.
Okay, so maybe he's actually 205 and he just looks bigger.
I think he's just
All right.
got wide shoulders.
Okay, all right. Well, Anthony Vita going to try to get things rolling for Lincoln Way West. Some fantastic defensive work from Bartley after getting hit by a pitch from Cam Houston. 95+ off his bat. Missed from Frierson. Braylon again plays for SBG Sox. 4th prep baseball event for him. Had him here at the 15U National Championship this past summer.
Been pitching pretty well since he entered the ball game. See if he can keep holding off Lincoln Way West.
Nice breaking ball. As someone with a large amount of hair, when you were playing baseball, what are the obstacles for a guy
So I didn't
playing with
have... So this is probably about the middle of the length of hair I've had before. When I was still playing, it was a lot shorter.
Okay.
For like the last 2 years I played baseball, I had kind of long hair, so it wasn't that bad. But it's annoying. It is. And I'm sure he would admit that it probably is too. But when it's that long, there's nothing you can do about it. Because you could tie it up, but it's going to look odd with the hat, and it's a mess. But I think he's probably so used to it in everyday life. I think I've never had my hair that long, probably a couple inches shorter than that. But it is just like you're so used to constantly pushing it out of the way that, I mean, you just deal with it.
And I would imagine, though, when it gets really hot out and it starts to get wet, it would be really annoying. Vita sends that one foul. Count is 2-2.
Yeah, I've definitely found myself multiple times, especially when my hair was longer than it is now. Once you start sweating, I mean, it's over. It is. I mean, your whole head, it's a problem.
Frierson has a 2-2 count here to Vita. Ropes that one over top of the middle infielder's heads, and that will drop into center field for a base hit.
Yeah.
So Vita on via the single. And that will bring up, where are we at in the order? That's going to bring up Globke. Peyton Globke, 5'9", 159-pounder, switch hitter. Going to bat from the right side here against Frierson. Exit velos north of 91 miles an hour for him. Bat speed up around 70 for the 2026. Not a huge frame at 5'9", 159 pounds to be pushing exit velos that are teetering on triple digits. But this 2026 outfielder can provide some pop. Let's see what he does here against Frierson. Shows bunt, gets that down. Vita is going to advance to second base. And the throw is going to pull the first baseman off the bag. Great job by Peyton Globke, and he will be aboard, and Lincoln Way West will have runners at first and second.
That was a fantastic bunt. Played it perfectly as well. He's flying down the line, too.
No one has gotten more love on this broadcast when they were not at the plate than Caden Kopax. And Caden Kopax will now step in, the Chicago Elite 5'11", 165-pounder. 2025 middle infielder. Try to build on this momentum for Lincoln Way West. Vita with the single, and now we see Globke get on with the bunt. He shows bunt, gets that one down. Vita on his way to third, and what a slow roller. The third baseman just stood pat. Lincoln Way West is going to have the bases loaded. I don't know that I've ever seen a ball like that where the third baseman just did not even make a break for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's whoa.
I mean, I get it. You're holding in case they make the throw over to third base, but
I guess the thing is, though, is the pitcher wasn't going to make the third base in time either.
That's true.
Neither of them really had the
play. In all honesty, the only play there is if the third baseman crashes hard on it, could throw it to first base and get an out. But if you make an errant throw there, Lincoln Way West has got another run. But the bases are now going to be loaded, and that's going to bring up Weber.
Lincoln Way West putting on a clinic in small ball.
Yeah, Owen Weber now at the plate with the bases loaded, nobody out here, and a one-run lead in the top of the seventh. Put pressure on Calvary Christian, and will attempt to do more here. Again, we will see Calvary Christian bat here in the bottom of the seventh inning as the home team. Weber calls time. Lincoln Way West, we know they have some pop in these bats, but they, as you mentioned, have shown some small ball abilities here. Weber skies that one. Cameras did not adjust, but it's like he will retreat to home plate, and this AB will continue. Did you make your public sub order?
No, I haven't. I got distracted because I got a notification saying that there's some kind of wrinkle in Jurickson Profar in this suspension. Supposedly he can return to the Braves lineup at the start of July, but will be ineligible for the 2025 postseason.
That's an interesting. I would be interested to understand the machinations of that.
But that did interrupt my public sub order.
All right, 0-2 count. Gets the strikeout. Out
go.
Number one recorded by Frierson, a much needed one. Again, bases loaded. Weber goes down on strikes, and now we are back to the top of the order for Lincoln Way West and Illinois Chicago Flames signee Lucas Acevedo.
This is definitely the part of the lineup that Lincoln Way West wants up right now.
Yeah, I want to see Lucas Acevedo on these base paths. Exit velos around 90 miles an hour, runs at 6.8860. I want to see the tools put on display from this Illinois Chicago signee. Sorry, Frierson, but I like to see speed on the base pass. To me, there's like nothing better than a guy who's got some pop in the bat and can run. Those are about as good as it gets. I mean, a power hitter, it's great to watch a guy who's prodigious and can blast it out of the park. But you give me a guy who can put the ball into the gap and can absolutely run. That's some of the most exciting things in the game of baseball.
Yeah, one of my favorite highlights that I saw from our coverage from last week was Brian Gould's triple.
Yeah.
He was flying.
Yep.
Absolutely flying.
Yeah, Army's going to get a good one from that MICDS catcher, right-handed pitcher, and middle infielder.
Did go on that swing, so makes it 1-1 with one out.
After Acevedo, it's Connor Essenberg. Frierson with the 1-1. Rips that one down the left side foul. If you're Calvary Christian, you absolutely want to keep this to a one-run deficit going into the bottom of the seventh inning. But the guy at the plate and the guy in the on-deck circle can change the complexity of this game for Lincoln Way West.
Do not fret, everybody. My public sub has been ordered.
Nice. Crisis averted. 1-2 count to Acevedo. He holds. Ball gets away from the catcher. Runner's taken off for home. And Vita,
awkward slide.
Vita makes it, though, and he'll take it. And it'll be an 8th run for Lincoln Way West, and they are now up 2 here in the top of the 7th inning.
That is absolutely huge for Lincoln Way West.
I think Anthony Vita bounced.
Yeah, that was tough. That was a tough scene. I mean, it's hard to slide on turf, but
it counts nonetheless. He's got another run for Lincoln Way West and a little bit more insurance here with one out in the top of the 7th.
Trying to avoid what happened to Jose Ramirez this weekend. He kind of had a similar issue, but he slid and rolled up on his wrist, left the game. So trying to avoid that at all costs on the base paths.
Frierson on the 2-2. Misses high. Count will now be full to Acevedo. What was the order? What's on your prep sub?
So I alternate. Sometimes I go chicken tender if I'm feeling indulgent, I guess, if you're going chicken tender. Because, I mean, that's a lot of carbs. Fried chicken on bread. So I went Italian today. I'm not a tomato guy, so you'll never find tomatoes.
Acevedo, 91.7 off of his bat. That is in its way to the left field corner. That bounces off the wall. Here comes one run for Lincoln Way West on his way home. Oh, just in time. Did he get there? He is safe. Acevedo on his way to third. Did they get him at third?
No.
He's safe. Acevedo has a 2-run triple and extends the Lincoln Way West lead. And, man, that was absolute magic. I wanted to see him on the base pass. Lucas Acevedo did not disappoint.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. What a great hit and a huge, huge moment for Lincoln Way West. This is why small ball works. I mean, look, you can say that the bunt is dead, but that's exactly how they got these guys on base. They got all the ducks on the pond with the bunt, and then you bring them all around with a huge hit right there, 91.7 off the bat all the way to the wall.
And now Connor Essenberg gets his chance with Acevedo at third. And, man, things getting scary here for Frierson on the mound as you watched one big bopper exchange for the biggest in the lineup, the Kentucky signee, those exit velos north of 105 miles an hour. See if they give Essenberg something to hit here. First pitch swinging. Connor Essenberg,
my goodness.
108.5 miles an hour off the bat of Connor Essenberg.
Did it not leave the park?
What in the world just happened? Our camera did not adjust.
It got caught?
It got caught. Man, I have no idea what just happened because our cameras did not switch over, but I do not understand how a ball, I have never seen a baseball at LakePoint Sports hit 108.5 off the bat. I am absolutely speechless. I don't know how. It looked like it was absolutely gone, but somehow Connor Essenberg is out number 2, and I thought we had absolute trip around the bases, but instead there's 2 down.
I'm amazed right now that didn't. I know he got way under it. But 108.5. You don't come across that.
Wow.
That tops what Terrence Bowen did here.
Yeah, Terrence Bowen, the Oklahoma State signee from Blessed Trinity, was 104.1 off his bat during the Georgia Dugout Club tournament, and that has now been topped 108 by Connor Essenberg, and he's out.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. I mean, it looked crushed off the bat. You could see our face. We looked like cartoon animals where like the eyes like shoot out of the face. That's what it looked like here in the studio. But man, and it gets caught too. But see what Michael Pettit has to offer here.
Yeah, he's got a 1-1. Pettit 91 nearly off his bat. Short has it, throws the first in time. That's going to bring it in the inning. Lincoln Way West though has an 11-6 lead over Calvary Christian. We're on our way to the bottom of the 7th inning. It all comes down to this for both these squads. We'll be back with the spring break experience.
Where's it written? Only grill burgers? Nowhere. That's where. Now throw on some sausage. And keep it juicy.
Boogie, woogie, jam, slam, bust the dialect. I'm the man in command. Come, flow with the sounds of the mighty Mike.
We are back here at LakePoint Sports and still in disbelief that Connor Essenberg's 108-mile-an-hour hit was not an actual hit and ends up with him being the second out of the top of the 7th inning. But Calvary Christian trails 11-6. It'll come down to this, and they're going to send Bryson Brooks to the plate here to start things off in the 7th inning. Brooks will be followed by Irving and Kennedy, trailing by 5 runs. Bartley, who had a defensive gem to end the 6th inning, is coming back out for another inning of work.
I'm not sure if we've still got him on the mic because we don't typically mic a guy up for an entire game, but was Connor Essenberg still mic'd up?
No, I believe he was just mic'd up for the first few innings, but I'm sure the words that were uttered out of his mouth were probably not usable after that.
We might have had to do a little bit of editing, And to no fault to Connor, if that is the case.
Yeah. All right, so Bryson Brooks, mentioned this a few times, 372 average, 14 RBI, 3 homers, 4 doubles will lead things off for Calvary Christian Knights. They have been largely held in check since the 3rd inning. They had 1 run in the 5th, but they have watched this Lincoln Way West squad just absolutely emerge from their early slumber. They were held scoreless through the first 2 and then scored 3 runs in the 3rd, 3 in the 4th, and 4 in the 7th.
Slipped coming out of the box, but looks like that one.
Yeah, I believe that went foul.
Yeah.
All right, Brooks retreating to home plate, and this AB will continue. I don't know that we've had 2 better back-to-back ABs that I can ever remember here. Watching Acevedo with that 2-run triple, and then Estenberg with what we were sure was going to be a home run at 108 miles
I've got
an
the
hour.
replay on my laptop right now. This looks unbelievable.
Yeah, he absolutely thought it was gone. That was that was an Aaron Judge-esque trip out of the box, and
catches the outside half there.
We need the launch angle on that.
Yeah,
Connor
that's
Estenberg.
what we're missing. I think it would, honestly might be up in the 40s. That was a really, really high launch angle on that one.
It's 64 mile an hour hit, right? Or 64 mile an hour pitch. Man, that was up in the zone, and he just absolutely hammered it. Yeah. It was just straight up. All right, 1 down here as Bryson Brooks is out. It's going to bring up Tommy Irving. He of the team best 550 on base percentage. See if he can up that here and do something with 1 out. He's first pitch swinging, and that one's going to go back foul.
Yeah, Irving 2 for 3 in this game, 2 RBIs already, so looking to continue his impact here, but just having to get on base to keep things alive right now.
Yeah, we already saw Lincoln Way East emerge with a win over Troy, in which they trailed in that one. Lincoln Way West trailed Calvary Christian, and now they are up 11-6 here in the bottom of the 7th. Those teams tracking towards that April 12th showdown. Here's the 1-1. Irving holds. 6:45 Eastern now. We've been on air for quite a while.
You're looking at about 3 hours, yeah?
Yeah. There's a 2-1. Oh, just misses, Bartley does. Count now 3-1. Kennedy in the on-deck circle for Calvary Christian. Just misses the bottom of the zone, and that's going to give the base runner for Calvary Christian. Bring up Kennedy.
I think even Irving wasn't really sure that that was a ball when, when he stood there and kind of waited on it.
Yeah, just misses the bottom of the zone. Jackson Kennedy now at the plate, the 6-foot, 185-pound, 2025.
Yeah, no hits today, but he's gotten walked and scored. That one misses on the outside, 84.9.
Lincoln Way West led off with Adam Gurl on the mound. He allowed 5 runs on 5 hits. Swing and a miss. Also had 3 strikeouts and 2 walks. And he was replaced by Ben Joint. Joint went 2 1/3 with 2 hits, 1 earned run, no walks and 3 strikeouts. And Tyler Bartley has been on the mound since. He's got 2 walks and 2 Ks. It's got a 2-1 count here to Irving. Or excuse me, Jackson Kennedy. Irving is at first base now. After Kennedy, it'll be Osborne, Nate Osborne. Another miss high count, now 3-1. Lincoln Way West has a nice cushion, but certainly don't want to keep providing free passes here to Calvary Christian here in the 7th inning.
Yeah, you don't want to let things get out of hand. Obviously, you've got the leeway, but
another walk. I mean, these teams have to play more games over the next couple days. I mean, this is a condensed, a lot of times in the high school season, you might play back-to-back games, back-to-back days, but you're going to have a little bit of time off. This is, unfortunately, a situation where you're playing 4 games within 3 days. We'll see if Bartley continues. Nate Osborne is the next batter for Calvary Christian. And that is going to be it for Tyler Bartley. So we're going to have a pitching change for Lincoln Way West with 2 on and 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th. We'll be right back to tell you about their new pitcher.
So yeah, outrage is trending. Our feed's stirring us up, splitting us up. What if we came out from behind our walls and keyboards just for a sec and just go yard? Front yard. Come out bagging, jumping, check on that Johnsonville feed. Let our individual flavors blend together. Yes, block nobody, block party. Keep it juicy.
The Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
Alex Macias is the new pitcher for Lincoln Way West as we sit here in the bottom of the 7th inning with 2 runners on for Calvary Christian and 1 out. Lincoln Way West leading 11-6. Cory, McCartney, Grayson, Rosen with you. Macias, St. Xavier signee, 2025.
I think we, just to continue the trend, I think we have to check.
I mean, it's got to be like the Knights, Knights or the Musketeers.
College.
St. Xavier University.
Is it university or college?
I think it's university. I'm saying Musketeers. That seems like a pretty basic St. Xavier one. Or maybe it's like the Eagles or something basic. But I want to. It looks like a Cougar.
Yep, Cougars.
Nice. Okay.
Good call right there.
All right.
It's tough to decipher cat mascots.
That's right.
Sometimes.
The future St. Xavier Cougar at the plate.
SXU is a strong abbreviation.
It is.
Something about that on the scoreboard just seems right.
St. Xavier, also a prominent high school in Cincinnati.
Best player that you know of that's come out of there? Any sport?
Out of St. X. Well,
I don't know any, so I'm.
Their current quarterback is Kirk Herbstreit's son.
Oh,
who's already, I believe, committed to Michigan.
Yeah. Still odd to me.
Yeah.
I think he's a plant. Yeah. I think that's what it is. Kirk needs intel.
Good friends. So we're going to go 6 degrees of spring break experience after this AB, and that one is blasted into center field, and that would be hauled in for an out, and the runners will retreat. So a woman that was in my wedding went to Troy High School, which we had Troy in the first game. Mm-hmm. Her son goes to St. X.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at all the connections.
That's right. St. X's big rival, Moeller, who we had here last year. Not hard to pick Moeller's greatest player. Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
But they also have Barry Larkin.
Yeah, they got a long list. Yeah. A very long list. I feel like they do have a lot of the juniors that were guys that played on the Reds.
Yeah.
The sons of those guys.
Yep.
Could be in that area.
All right. I'm actually going to look and see who the biggest person to come through St. X, and it has nothing to do with the St. Xavier that Macias is going to.
It's just how things go sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, Luke Kuechly. That's a pretty good one. Yeah, Luke Kuechly's
Love
a good
Luke
one.
Kuechly.
Yeah.
I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Tom O'Brien, who used to be NC State's head football coach. Yeah. Yeah, I think Kuechly's that's the biggest one. So Luke Kuechly is the biggest sporting alumni of Cincinnati's St. X. Now let's find
the
out.
University, there's no telling. They are in Chicago, so they might have somebody, maybe non-athletics, but still a notable name.
All right, we're going to see who the famous ex-university alumni are. Unfortunately, you wind up on their alumni page.
Ooh, big swing and miss right there. Strong ball right there. And down to their last strike. 2 outs, bottom of the 7th, 1-2 count.
This is a pretty good one. Craig Robinson from The Office.
See, that's a good pull.
All right, so Craig Robinson from The Office is the most famous alumni of St. Xavier University. That is until one Alex Macias gets there and makes his impact on the baseball program. He's got a 1-2 count here. 2 down in the inning. Lincoln Way West trying to slam the door and get themselves a win in the spring break experience. Swing and a miss, drop third, tags him, and Alex Macias slams the door. Lincoln Way West in comeback fashion get the 11-6 win over Calvary Christian. And, man, what an absolute epic start to week 2 of the spring break experience.
That was all we could have asked for from the 2 of those games.
All right, as I mentioned before, there are plenty of games going across these next couple of days for this week of the spring break experience, but we will be back on Thursday for another watch party, that a Battle for Bartow watch party. 4 games at the 12 o'clock window. We'll have Cherokee Campbell, Kell against Ringgold, Newton against Alexander, a nationally ranked Etowah taking on Stony Brook out of New York. And then Friday, it's Etowah against Houston County, 2 of the top 3 teams in the state of Georgia. And it's going to be absolutely epic at noon on Friday. Of course, all these games available for free on Facebook, X, and YouTube. So make sure you watch those. Tell a friend. Until next time, for Jack Bauer. Jack Bauer, I feel like he was in here a day ago. Yeah, Jack Bauer, who started things off, the Lincoln Way East left-hander and Virginia signee. So for Jack, Grayson, Rosen, and producer Mason Monroe, I'm Cory McCartney. And for now, we're signing off from LakePoint Sports.